It's game on as the Craftsman Truck Series tonight hits the pavement to begin its longest stretch of the season. And here in America's heartland, there lies an opportunity to make a big statement. This is Kansas Speedway, a track that's not for the faint of heart. Fast, wide, and if taken for granted, unforgiving. Christian Eckes took the victory here a year ago and returns with the momentum of wins on his side.
Hell yeah, let's go!
But the challengers this go-round are aplenty. A few are hunting for more wins themselves, while others can feel the pressure of time ticking by.
If they counted you out, it doesn't matter, you're still gonna win.
Buckle up, it's gonna be a thrill ride as the trucks sweep through Kansas. And it all starts with race day.
It's going to be a thrill ride for sure. After a couple weeks off, these Craftsman Truck Series teams are more than ready to go in the Sunflower State. Kansas Speedway may be a mile-and-a-half track, but it's known for being anything but average. It's the Truck Series turn, and it's racing in the heartland of Kansas, and it doesn't get much better than that. Welcome in to Race Day on FS1. I'm Caitlin Vinci alongside America's crew chief, Larry McReynolds is here. You've had a busy day, Larry. Todd Bodine is here as well. And as I just referenced, Todd, we're back. It's been a couple weeks off. I know these teams are ready to go.
Oh, absolutely. You know, 7 races to start the year, and everybody's just getting going, getting a rhythm, having some fun, and then bam! 2 weeks off, and they're standing there like, what do we do now? We got all this time, right? Well, they get a little antsy. But you know what the best cure for antsy is?
What?
Go to the racetrack. Crank that motor up, smell them fumes, and get it out of the racetrack. It doesn't get any better than that.
There you go.
Well, and they are back at one of the raciest mile-and-a-half tracks we go to. Todd's going to break it down a little later in the show, how they'll be running from the top of the racetrack to the bottom of the racetrack. Now, if you get up during a caution, make sure you're back in front of that TV for a restart because there'll be 3 wide, 4 wide, 6 wide. You mentioned it, a mile-and-a-half track, but when you see the wrecks at Kansas, you think we might be at a Daytona or Talladega, some huge wrecks. Yeah. And let me add, may the force be with you both.
That's right, May the 4th. What a great day for a race. Just listening to the two of them has me very excited about this event. So we talked about the break that we've had, but what's happened so far in the Truck Series throughout the course of the season? Take a look at this. Nick Sanchez, he won the season opener out there in Daytona. First career win for him. So too for Rajah Caruth. He got it done in Las Vegas on the West Coast. First career win. Christian Eckes won on the short tracks of Bristol and Martinsville. Then it was Mr. Corey Heim, the old Heim time out in the road course of Austin, Texas. And Kyle Busch, always a force to be reckoned with in the Series 1 at Atlanta and Texas, just the last time out. So, after 7 races so far, it's surprising, guys, to see a number of veteran drivers in and around the cut line with Grant Enfinger at +5. Ben Rhodes is below at -6. Stuart Friesen, 17, below the line. So, Larry, the pressure, it is building for some of these teams as it concerns the cut line.
Well, and these 9 races will go by just like that, especially with these 5 in a row. But I think if you're around that cut line, even if you're just a little above it, a little below it, what makes you nervous? What if somebody like Lane Riggs, Ty Dillon, goes out and wins a race? Yeah. It takes that cut line and shakes it up like a Christmas stove globe. It moves it a ton. So when you're in their position, you've got to think about every finishing position, every stage point, every point you can put in your bucket. And that's something a lot of those drivers have not done a lot of, is score stage points. But there's one thing that cures it all. Go to victory lane. You don't have to worry about that cut line.
Yeah, simple as that, right? You just win.
You know, the one guy that to me has really got to be concerned is Stuart Friesen. Yeah. You know, he's only 17 below, but Stuart has put his heart and soul into this thing this winter, rebuilding this race team. Went out, brought in a new crew chief, Jimmy Villeneuve, done a great job. They've got fast trucks. They've rebuilt their trucks. They've changed the processes within the team, and they are actually fast on the racetrack. But racing luck has reared its ugly head so many times this year with Stuart. Some of it their own doing, some of it's Stuart's, and some of it's just bad luck. But he's put his heart and soul in this thing, and it's worked, but he's got to make sure he finishes these races. To your point, get these points, get yourself up into that playoff position.
Stuart Friesen, one of the drivers who's below the cut line. So, too, is Ben Rhodes, a former champion, of course, in the field. For more on Ben Rhodes and his team, we head out to Kansas Speedway to our pit reporter, Josh Sims. Josh, what is the latest you can tell us on Ben Rhodes?
Well, Caitlin, you guys talked about it. It's been a tough start to the season for the defending champ, Ben Rhodes. I mean, you look at the numbers, just one top 10 so far this year. But think about last year. Got off to a similar start with struggles. They got their win at Charlotte, which is still a couple weeks away. So this team always believes that when they have a shot to come out here and race, they have a shot to come out here and get a win. Now, the good news for them is Ben was really good here at Kansas last year, so they brought a similar setup. And in practice, I just checked in with crew chief Rich Lucius. He said they are happy with the truck, feels like they have something for the race. And when I talked to Ben earlier, he said, yes, stage points are important. Obviously, running well is important, but it's time. We need to get a win. And it feels like things are lining up for them to have a chance to do that out here tonight. Caitlin?
Thank you, Josh. Great insight there. We'll check in with you throughout the course of the show. It's going to be a busy 5 weeks for the Truck Series teams. Long stretch of races. Of course, tonight we're out in the heartland at Kansas. Then we'll head back to the East Coast, where we have an iconic racetrack of Darlington next Friday. Speaking of iconic, North Wilkesboro also mid-May for the Truck Series teams. Then it's a race in NASCAR's backyard at Charlotte, and then off we go to St. Louis for Worldwide Technology Raceway. So 5 straight races, and very imperative that they are good 5 weeks for people, right?
Well, and it doesn't sound like a lot of races in a row, but for these Truck Series teams, for a lot of them, it really, really is. And this is the longest stretch that they'll run all year long. So far, it's only been 3 in a row, and that was to start the season. But look at the variety of racetracks that we're going to here. There's a couple of mile and a halves there. You've got Kansas, you've got Charlotte, but they're very different. And you've got Darlington. I know it's Mother's Day weekend. She doesn't care. She's still not going to be kind to these guys. Then we've got the St. Louis, the 1.25 miles, and the short track, a lot of unknowns at North Wilkesboro, the fresh repave. Again, you get through these 5 tracks right here, there'll only be 4 races left in the regular season.
Hard to believe.
That's crazy, yeah. You know, to me, you know, they've had these 2 weeks off, and to me, it's the most important 2 weeks they could have had in this spot, going to the 5 tracks that are totally different. You're not going to be really good at all 5 of these tracks. You're going to have a weak point. So take these 2 weekends off, 2 weeks off, figure out how to make that weak spot better, whether it be going to the simulator with a different setup, having a driver change and do different things behind the wheel. It can make you better. So take those 2 weeks, make yourself better so you're not weak in the
That's exactly what Grant Enfinger said this morning. I heard him in an interview. He said it's a great time for a reset. 2 off weeks headed into this 5-race stretch.
It'll be interesting to see what teams can capitalize over the next 5 weeks. And we are just getting started, but still to come here on race day. We hear from Taylor Gray, who is still hunting down win number 1 in the series, but he's getting closer and closer. Plus, Grant Enfinger is a past winner here and close to the cut line. Can history repeat itself? We will hear from him out at the racetrack coming up next. Kansas is a city known for many things, but one that never disappoints is that right there, the barbecue. And it does seem like we all have our own opinions when it comes to who has the best barbecue, especially if you're from the South. Take a listen.
The best barbecue is in Decatur, Alabama, at a place called Big Bob Gibson's. Kansas barbecue, okay. I could take it or leave it.
Well, all right. So Big Bob Gibson. Have you been there?
I mean, we're both Alabama boys. We both love the Crimson Tide. Dreamland Barbecue in Tuscaloosa, T-Town, the best money can buy. They know about winning national championships and about barbecue in Tuscaloosa.
He's saying not Big Bob Gibson's then, but you got a spot out in either state.
Lancaster's and Mooresville, man.
Big NASCAR place.
That's NASCAR. All the teams go there. They got the best Eastern North Carolina barbecue.
You getting a kickback from that, or what? They give you a gift card to say that?
He's a buddy of mine. What can I say?
We're going to talk about Grant later, of course, in the show. But Todd, how do you race Kansas? Because as I mentioned, it's a 1.5 miles, but it's very unique.
It's very unique, but I'll tell you, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a driver that does not love Kansas Motor Speedway. And there's a reason for that. The driver can make such a difference in how the truck runs. It's so wide. You can run the bottom. You can run the top. You can go in at the top. You can cut across the bottom. A driver can control how his truck handles way differently than most racetracks because of the way it is. And I mean, come on, 3 wide, look at this thing. A restart, it's always like this, 3 wide, 4 wide. These trucks are so aero sensitive. This is probably one of the few tracks that you can actually get away with that side by side. So they love this racetrack.
Speaking of one of the few tracks, one of the few we go to in the playoffs, it's an elimination race, which puts a high premium on this event, especially for the guys who already know they're locked in.
Well, it does. And, you know, we only go to 2 tracks twice in 2024 with the Truck Series. We go to Bristol, we go to Kansas. That's race number 2 and race number 3 of that round of 10. So no matter how you finish tonight, your hopes, let's put good pages in those notebooks. But to your point, Caitlin, if you're like the 19 team, the 11 team, any of these drivers and teams that's won and they feel like they're locked in, yeah, you don't want to get too far off the interstate, not be able to get back on, but it is a good night to try some things. There's only one more mile-and-a-half track we go to before we go back to Kansas. That's Charlotte. I mentioned it earlier, Charlotte and Kansas, they are different, but you maybe can learn some things tonight that could help you at the end of May when we go to Charlotte.
Well, he referenced some teams that have already won in the postseason. One of them is the Las Vegas winner. I want to go back to fabulous Las Vegas and Nevada, where it was Rajah Caruth, that driver right there, who led 38 laps on the way to his first career win. What a huge moment for that driver and team. Every finish since then has been inside the top 15 for Mr. Rajah Caruth. So, of course, it begs the question. That was a mile-and-a-half racetrack. Tonight is a mile-and-a-half once again. So, expectations for him.
Well, I think you got to look at maybe a win, right? That's what you want to go there for. But I tell you, Rajah has done such a great job this year. He's come a long way. You know, they started really strong this season. Then they got the win at Vegas, and everything's looking up. But since Vegas, it's been a little up and down. You know, they've had some high teen finishes and some low up in the tens. But I think Rajah is still on that learning curve. You know, this is only his second full-time season. And there's still a lot to learn with these trucks and how to race them. And he's doing a great job. And you know, tonight, a mile-and-a-half, got the win at Vegas. There's no reason he couldn't go out and do it tonight.
Okay, well, Rajah Caruth, we'll keep an eye on him. He is starting 4th for the race. A driver who's already won on the year is Rajah. One who is still searching for his first win in the Truck Series is Taylor Gray. And right now he is standing by with Josh out at the track.
Yeah, Caitlin, and that's a good place to start. You talk about Rajah already getting his first career win. Nick Sanchez doing it as well. Where our Todd Bodine back in studio earlier this week said, this is the guy, Taylor Gray, the next one to get his first career win. You feel like you can do that here tonight?
Yeah, I think we got a really good JBL Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. Just got to keep executing, man. Just got to get these consistent finishes in and just, honestly, we're points racing, right? So, you know, right now my biggest focus is go get some good finishes in the stages and, you know, worry about stage 3 as it comes. Just, again, just have to execute stage 3.
Now, a lot of the drivers have been off, at least in the Truck Series, the last couple of weeks. You've been out there in the Xfinity Series getting reps over there. How does that help you in terms of keeping that consistency going?
Yeah, just building the notebook is the biggest thing, right? I mean, cars definitely drive different. You know, you're racing against different people, but just building my mental notebook and just kind of learning what I took from the Xfinity car and applying it here.
Taylor Gray starts 17 out here tonight. Caitlin?
Thank you, Josh. And great question there by Josh asking about that extra seat time for Taylor Gray. We heard him talking about execution. What's impressed you the most about what that team's been able to do so far this year?
I mean, he's 19 years old, and he's pretty much done everything in the Truck Series but find victory lane. And he's been lights out these last 6 races. 3 top 5s, including 2nd at the road course out there in COTA. 6 top 10 finishes. And Kansas has been a good racetrack for him. I was a little disappointed in his qualifying run earlier today. Qualified 17th, but if you go back to the 2 Kansas races last year, 9th a year ago, 2nd in the fall, I just honestly believe, regardless win or not, we have not truly seen how much talent this young man has.
Yeah, I totally agree, Larry. And, you know, we heard Taylor say he's going to apply what he learned in the Xfinity car to the truck. Well, I'm sorry, Taylor, I disagree with you. I think he applied what he learned in the trucks in those Xfinity races because he has learned in these trucks how to race these races. His racecraft has gotten so much better from last year that it's really impressive every week to watch him run. And he's thinking. He's always thinking ahead and what can I do the next corner to be better. And that's how you get better, and he's showing it every week.
5 starts for Joe Gibbs Racing in that Xfinity Series car. His very first start, Richmond goes out there and gets a top 5 finish.
Impressive, to say the
impressive.
least. Yeah, and great for him getting all that seat time across different series. So take a look at this. Guys searching for their first career win. Some notable drivers, both Gray brothers on the list, Tanner and Taylor. Also, Chase Purdy, the pole sitter, along with Jake Garcia. All those guys still looking for their first win in the trucks. And still to come here on race day, Brett Moffitt. He's a former champion, and he's back in the series tonight. We will revisit Brett's history in the truck series with a get to know you. Plus, Corey Heim, there he is. He's got a crazy weekend ahead in Kansas.
Time.
Double duty and cup. We discuss him when we return. Welcome back to Truck Series Race Day. And earlier today at Kansas Speedway, it was that driver, Connor Mozak, who went to victory lane in the ARCA Menards Series. Big moment for him. And now focusing on tonight, he is in the 7 truck, making his second start of the season. He will start 5th tonight, up close in the field. So what about Cam Waters? The Australian is back driving for ThorSport, his second career Truck Series start. He will line up 20th. And Brett Moffitt, he is back in the field, former champion, former winner at Kansas. He's racing tonight and starting 19th. So speaking of that, take a look at this. 3 former champions and former winners as well here in the field. Matt Crafton, Brett Moffitt, and Zane Smith. So pretty stacked field. Grant Enfinger and Christian Eckes are also on the list as former winners. And Brett Moffitt won a championship in the series back in 2018 and has 13 wins. He's making his big return to the series this weekend, so we figured we would have you get to know Brett Moffitt again.
I'm Brett Moffitt, and here's your chance to get to know me again. I'm the 2015 Cup Series Rookie of the Year and the 2018 Truck Series Champion. My last truck start was at Talladega last September, and by the way, I won. We got the job done. Since then, I've became a father now of my second child. While I want to be in the car every weekend, it's nice to have a little bit of time off and spend it with them. My relation to Thad Moffitt is we are both race car drivers, and that's about it. We are different Moffitts, so no relation there. My hobbies away from the track are mountain biking a lot, and then golf whenever I get the chance. Those are really kind of it. Between that and taking care of my 2 sons, that fills up most of the hours of the day. My alter ego is Barbecue Bob.
Hey, yo, you know who it is. It's Barbecue Bob here.
I love doing, smoking meat, whether it be on a pellet grill or a wood fire grill, and Barbecue Bob tends to indulge in some adult beverages and have a little bit of fun, so it's a good time.
My pulled pork is the best pulled pork around.
I am a mountain person. My wife is a beach person, so we have a torn household. I need something to do all the time. I can't just sit around on the beach. The mustache is gone. I look a few years younger, and with all these young kids coming in and taking all the rides, age is the thing we don't want to be showing too much of. And now you know me, Brett Moffitt. It's good to be back.
That might be my favorite one we've had on the show. Barbecue Bob looks like a fun time, right? Yeah, no question. And it's sad that he got rid of the mustache. That was kind of
he looks way better.
Okay, so Todd Bodine not in favor of the mustache. But what are your expectations for him back in a truck this weekend?
I think he can win this race. I really do. Now he's got his work cut out for him, starting 19th. But at one truck at Tricon Garage, we know how good that equipment is. We know how good the engineering is and what Toyota's put behind his team. And we know how good Brett Moffitt is. To me, it just breaks my heart to not see him out there full-time in something, whatever it be, trucks or Xfinity or Cup. It doesn't matter. The kid is good. He deserves to be out here full-time.
Yeah, he ran full-time in the Xfinity Series last year, and I probably wasn't totally shocked he qualified 19th because, to my knowledge, this is the first time he's been in anything in 2024. Yes. So I'm sure it's going to take him just a little bit of time. But you're right, a good truck. But he is the 7th different driver to be in that number 1 truck. But the last time, not the last time we were at a mile and a half, but earlier in the year at Las Vegas, Christopher Bell did go out there and finish 5th in that 1 truck.
There you go. It's good to have Brett Moffitt, though, back in the field. We'll have to see how he does tonight. Now, 1 year ago, guys, it was Grant Enfinger who led 65 laps on the way to the win out in Kansas, the first of 3 wins he had last season. Huge moment for him and that team, and it begs the question, can history repeat itself tonight? Right now, Grant is with Josh.
Well, that's right, Caitlin, and Grant Enfinger got that dominating win in the spring here last year, albeit with a different team. So after practice and qualifying, how are we feeling about tonight?
we didn't fire off practice very good, but Jeff made some good adjustments, and by the end of practice, I felt okay out there. We know we got some work to do. Jeff has already put a few more adjustments in for the race. This is a brand new truck for us, so we don't know if we needed a small step or a big step, but we do know we're a little bit off just on our short run speed. So this is a place where after a few laps you can move around, you can do a lot of things. One of my favorite mile-and-a-half tracks we go to. So we need a good night tonight.
Earlier in the show, they were playing an earlier interview with you talking about barbecue, and you said the best barbecue comes from Alabama. The barbecue in KC is okay. So if you're putting together the best barbecue plate, what are the two main meats, and then what are the two sides? I mean, people will maybe say this is doubling up or whatever, but ribs and burnt ends. I mean, pulled pork's okay, you know, but you got to have ribs, you got to have burnt ends. Sides? I'm not worried about sides. If you do the main course right, you don't have to worry about sides. I love that philosophy. Good luck out there tonight, Grant.
I love this barbecue tips here from Grant. We're learning so much. His preferences and his place to go eat. What do you agree with the burns and what do you say?
Ribs.
Ribs.
I don't know about the burnt ends. I'm good with the ribs, though.
What are the sides? No one ever set aside. Come on. What are you doing for your sides?
Oh, macaroni salad. Love me some
coleslaw. Got to have a slaw.
There you go. All right, we answered it since Grant wouldn't. Okay, Grant is above the cut line right now, but what is your observation about the cut line drivers?
Yeah, there's three I'm looking at closely. Grant Enfinger, Daniel Dye, and Ben Rhodes. They're only separated by 6 points, but not only are those three drivers looking for their first win of 2024, all three are still looking for their very first top 5 finish. Now, Daniel Dye only has 2 starts at Kansas, still looking for his first top 10. Ben has a second. We talked about Grant winning there. But honestly, when I'm looking at those three drivers, we talked about little steps and big steps. To me, a little step would be go out there and start the month of May solid and get you a good top 5 finish tonight. Yeah, winning a race, that's what you're there for, but you also could just use a solid top 5.
Well, the guy that surprises me that's at the cut line in a good way is Daniel Dye.
Yeah.
You know, we've watched this young man the last couple of years at GMS and just never could get it going. Always had an issue, never really had good speed. This year he's gone to MHR, good trucks, good teammates, and this kid's figured it out. He's getting better every week. He's figuring out how to run up front. I think the lack of experience, he didn't understand how to race at the front, and he's figuring that out. Last race at Texas, best finish of the year, finished 6th. He's on a roll. He's doing really well. Ben Braybridge is the crew chief. I'm happy for them.
We'll have to keep an eye on Daniel Dye and how he does in tonight's race in Kansas. We got more race day on the way. Corey Heim is a busy driver this weekend, also running in the Cup Series. We'll talk about his weekend just ahead. And Ty Majeski, guys, he's going to be with Michael Waltrip having a little milkshake action. Yeah. With that story and more race day coming up next. Welcome back to Race Day with a look at Zane Smith, the past winner here. He's in that 91 truck, making his 4th start this season. He will start 9th, running double duty this weekend in the Cup Series, of course. So too is Corey Heim. He has a busy weekend. He's running in trucks and also filling in for the recovering Eric Jones in the 43 car on the Cup side. He is starting 13th. And take a look at this, the mile-and-a-half performances so far. Only 2 mile-and-a-half tracks we have visited. Corey Heim is at the top with an average finish of 2.5. Christian Eckes, a multi-winner on the year at a 5.0. Taylor Gray, Raja Caruth also on the list. So let's talk about Corey Heim and Christian Eckes. They've been kind of the class of the field so far this season. What have you seen out of Corey Heim thus far, Larry?
I don't see a lot of weaknesses. I know he only has that one win, but when you look at these first 7 races at this variety of racetrack, all top 10, 6 top 5 finishes. I know he did not win one of those mile-and-a-half track races. Of course, Kyle Busch won one of them, but you saw it right there. I mean, a 2nd and a 3rd. And again, he didn't get that great qualifying run in, just outside the top 10. But what this young man is doing in that 11 truck is to me, lights out. Those 2 guys, other than Majeski on the point side, they kind of separated themselves from everybody else.
Yeah, you know, you talk about Corey and you talk about Christian Eckes, right? And I think you're talking about the 2 best teams, the 2 best drivers that are in the Truck Series right now. And yeah, they haven't won in a mile-and-a-half, but, you know, Christian's won. His first win was at Las Vegas 2 years ago. He won this. He won at Kansas last fall. So he's good on a mile and a half. And obviously the finishes show at 0.5 or average finish of 5th. So let's not panic there. They're going to be fine. Like you said, there's only been 2 races. They're good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And I referenced it. Corey Heim, very busy today because he's running double duty, and so too is Zane Smith. Take a look at what their day has been like so far in this little checklist, little report card kind of here. Trucks practice and qualifying happen at noon. Then they jumped in the Cup course for practice and qualifying. Now the truck race is next for them. So to get the mindset of Corey Heim, we joined Josh, who was standing by with him.
Well, Caitlin, you touched on it right there, just how busy this man is for the second week in a row in the Cup car. So what's it been like juggling that along with your regular responsibilities?
It's certainly been a lot. You know, it's been a big adaptation I've had to kind of get through with the Cup side of things, and a really short notice at that as well. But super excited for the race tonight. Kansas has always been one of my favorite places, if not my favorite place to come and run this Tundra TRD Pro, and I feel like our practice went really well today. So definitely busy, a lot of track time, but I've never been one to complain about that. I think with these short practices, it's all very vital that you get a lot of track time. So definitely can't wait. I feel like our Safe Flight Tundra TRD Pro is going to be good.
I think we on TV always make a lot about the fact that you haven't won on a mile and a half. That's not the new Atlanta. I'm sure you're tired of hearing that, but you had some close chances here last year. You feel like this track owes you one?
100%. I mean, I feel like I've led so many laps here and deserve to win at times. So it's my fault for not closing it out. I feel like we've been so good in the first couple stages, and then just things haven't gone our way in the third stage. So that's been the highlight of my film review, if you will, the past couple weeks at Kansas and Texas, just to close out that third stage. And I feel like tonight could be our night. We'll see.
And Corey Heim rolls off 13th. Caitlin?
Thank you, Josh. We'll watch him trying to make his way to the front from 13th. And as I mentioned, he's in the Cup car on that 43 entry. How is that helping him, you think, in terms of the truck racing?
Well, we know the trucks and the Cup cars, they're very, very different, but laps are laps. He's going to learn about this racetrack, and I thought he did a really nice job at Dover. Your first career Cup Series start at Dover, and you only found out just a few days, and he did exactly what he needed to do. He ran as many laps as he could, and he was still out on that racetrack at the end. And I heard an interview this morning on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio. He said, I'm a lot more comfortable this week because I have a lot more experience at Kansas than I did Dover. He goes out there today, has a solid practice in that Cup Series car, and qualified 20th. You know what? That is a yeoman's day, making your second career start in a race car that really you're not the permanent driver for.
Yeah, he's been very impressive, no doubt about that, on the Cup side of things. So for more insight onto this, we join the voices in the booth calling all the action from Kansas and say hello to Adam Alexander, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip. And guys, what do you think? It will be Heim time once again tonight or what?
I feel like it's always Heim time. 7 races this year. He's top 10 every time. It really doesn't matter, and they've talked about it in the studio, what type of track, what series. He always is on the short list of drivers to watch, Phil.
Yeah, and it's no surprise to me. We saw him coming to the ARCA Series. He finished in the top 10 95% of its starts in the ARCA Series. Won twice here at this very racetrack. So he comes to the Truck Series 75% of the time, which is up there with champions in our series of the times he starts into the top 10. And I think that's going to continue. And I'm telling you, a lot of talk in the garage area was that Corey Heim is a truck to beat. We know he qualified outside the top 10. We're not too worried about that because we think he's going to be the guy. On average, he was the best in the garage.
13th, I mean, that's a little ground to make up. What of your Nick Sanchez? You have problems in the inspection line yesterday. You don't get to qualify today. He's got to come from outside the top 30 in this race, Michael.
Yeah, Nick Sanchez is a qualifying machine. He has 6 career poles, and he's been running great this season. Last year here at Kansas, 2 top 10s. Last 2 finishes here in 24, 3rd and 4th, so he's knocking on the door. What that means for us, Adam, is good. This is going to be fun to watch Nick Sanchez on this really racy track where you can run from the top to the bottom all over the place. It's going to be really fun to watch Nick cutting through the field. I'm not going to tell you that he's not going to be my favorite to beat Corey Heim tonight and get to victory lane. Won at Daytona early in this year, started out the season in an awesome way, and he's been good all year long.
America's crew chief, Larry McReynolds, on race day. In honor of Larry being here tonight, Phil and Michael both dropping plenty of Larry McNuggets. We look forward to the race later on, Caitlin.
That is the truth.
I
Great
lost my
insight.
notebook. I think I know where it went.
Yeah. Thank you, Adam. Great insight from the three of you. We look forward to having you on the call this evening. And the guys mentioned him, Nick Sanchez. Here we see for notable starter 31st. That's going to be a tough bill because he's got to make his way to the front from the back. Pole sitter Chase Purdy. Ty Dillon with a really good qualifying effort, guys.
Solid.
They're in third. Daniel Dine just outside the top 5. All right, still to come here on race day. We sent Michael Waltrip, who we just heard from, for a little milkshakes and a catch-up with Ty Majeski. Guys, what do you think about this?
That's interesting looking.
It is.
I'm mad they didn't invite me.
Me too. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Race Day at Kansas with a look at Matt Crafton. He is starting 14th, past champion, and a past winner, of course, out at this racetrack, which I want to talk about that for a moment and go back to 2020 when Matt Crafton and the 88 team got it done. They led 23 laps on the way to the win, and Matt is a 3-time winner out in Kansas. It's been one of his better racetracks over the years, and he's been running well, Todd. The old 88. What do you think of MC tonight? Yes?
Well, yeah, they've definitely been running better. You know, the old adage, you gotta walk before you run. Well, they're walking pretty fast right now, but they're not running at all. You know, they've been between 15th and 7th and 8th racing on a track, and it's been good to see that they have that kind of consistency. Him and Jared Prince are really making strides with it, but the last few races have not been the best, so they kind of backslid a little bit. But tonight, I think, you know, this is obviously Matt's had some success here. 3 wins. No reason to get a good truck, get some adjustments on it, get himself up to the front.
Certainly that prior success could help him as it pertains to tonight. So let's take a look at the Thor Sports starting positions for their stable of drivers. Ty Majeski, best of the group, 2nd. You see Jake Garcia there in 7th. Ben Rhodes is qualified 11th. Matt Crafton will roll off 14th. And Cam Waters will be starting 20th. And Ty is one of the Thor Sport teammates who is still looking for his first win of the year. So for more on Ty, we sent our Michael Waltrip to the Crazy Mason in Concord, North Carolina, to talk with Ty about his early days of racing and what he expects out of his team for this weekend. Here's Milkshakes with Majeski and Michael.
How are you?
I am great. How are you doing today?
Great. I've heard about the pit stop. I want a pit stop.
I think I'm going to try a milkshake. I'm going to go with the Holy Cow free.
Anything else that you need today?
Holy cow. So I have a couple of questions, and that's why I brought you here. 1994, born in Seymour, Wisconsin. Started racing go-karts when you were 9. What gave you the itch?
I was at that age where all my buddies at school were starting to go out for tackle football. And I'm like 5'4", 140 pounds now, so you imagine how small I was back then. And they didn't want me getting hurt and stuff because of how small I was. And my dad said, hey, what if I went out and bought you a go-kart instead? Gradually moved up the ranks and won at every level I've been at for the most part, and here I am today.
I was really tall as a kid, and so my parents were like, you're too tall to be a racer. And so I was like, no, I'm not, I'll fit. Your parents said you're too short to be a football player.
There you go, right.
Racer, so we made it.
Yeah, exactly.
My brother Bobby was the track announcer down in Mississippi, and he watched you do great things behind the wheel of a go-kart.
Small world, right? It was in 2009. Went down there, won 3 of the 5 races in the Junior 3 division. We got a call from him a few weeks later, and I tested his late model at Hickory Motor Speedway. A lot of people don't know that. First time I ever drove a race car was in a late model stock at Hickory Motor Speedway.
Legend has it that you didn't know how to drive a stick shift.
Yeah, I didn't. My dad actually went out and bought like a $500 S10. We have a U-shaped driveway that connects to the road, so all winter long, I was just making laps, and I'd get a little bit more brave, learn how to drive stick shift.
Ty Majeski is always on the list of favorites.
He doesn't have the wins that all these other drivers have. It's been a little bit of a mixed bag to start the year. They expect to have more success.
Where is your program today, and how are you feeling about the 24 season? We're getting ready to go on really a big stretch here. We got 5 races in a row.
I feel really good about where our race team is at. I do. I feel like we've maybe given 1 or 2 races away this year. We had a really good truck at Vegas, bet on pit road. And
the 98 speeding.
If the cautions fall a little bit differently at Martinsville, maybe we win that one. We had a little bit of a down week at Texas. We're right there, Mike. You know, we just need to do the small things. Hopefully we can get this 98 truck in victory lane sooner rather than later.
You mentioned Texas earlier. Wasn't great for you. How do you regroup and head to another mile and a half out in Kansas?
Kansas has overall really been a good track for us. We've had great speed there. As a race car driver, you want to have options. Kansas is a racetrack that we have options at. We'll be from the white line all the way to the fence, trying to make speed and try and get track position. So should be a great race. Always puts on a good one.
Hey, I feel like I'm back at Dover. There's a duck involved. Excellent. That's one of the best pit stops I've ever had.
Pretty good.
What do you guys say? Go get a pit stop
Hanging out
after
at the Crazy
You guys wanna
Mason
go?
with Michael Waltrip.
It doesn't get much crazier, does it? Great interview there, though, between the two of them. Kind of cool to hear the history there with his brother and Ty. But do you think Ty is at the level of Corey Heim and Christian Eckes? What do you think?
You know, he's done everything this year but find victory lane. He's third in the points behind Corey and behind Christian. He's got those 2 top 5 finishes at Atlanta and Martinsville. But what I kind of see with Ty Majeski and that 98 team, it kind of reminds me of Ryan Blaney in the Cup Series before 2023. They'd qualify up front, lead laps, win stage 1, win stage 2, and finish 7th. It's like something keeps him from closing that deal. His last win was at the Indy Short Track last summer. But I think if they ever find that consistency, some of their issues have been self-inflicted, the speeding penalties, some not. But I think if they ever figure it out, it'll be game on.
Absolutely. You know, I think on-track performance, speed of the vehicle, Ty behind the wheel, I absolutely put him with Corey and Christian on the same level. I think that the team is that good. I think Ty is that good. But we heard Ty talk about it, and you mentioned it. Yeah. It's self-inflicted wounds. So you can't make these mistakes and expect to be on that level. And the one thing, to just not winning races. You got to win races to be up to that
Got to close that deal.
Got to close it out.
This could be the night they put it all together and find victory lane. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for tonight's event. Ty, we've been talking about him, starts on the front row alongside pole sitter Chase Purdy. He is the 7th different pole winner in the first 7 races of this season. Row 2 sees Ty Dillon. It's his best start of the year.
Good night to be named Ty.
It's Ty's night. He's never started outside the top 5 here. And Vegas winner Raja Caruth rolls off 4th. Row 3 sees Connor Mosack, the ARCA winner, with his best ever truck start. And sharing that 3rd row is Daniel Dye. He had a season best finish of 6th in Texas, and he starts 6th tonight. Take a look at this, guys. We heard the booth guys talking about it. Starting in the rear after failing inspection 3 times yesterday, Nick Sanchez. He was not permitted to post a qualifying speed. Also starting towards the back. At the rear is Timmy Hill and Mason Massey. So it'll be fun to watch those guys try to make their way to the front. We're just a little over 13 minutes to the command, and we'll have to see how Raja Caruth, our winner on a 1.5 mile racetrack, if he can maybe get it done tonight. We'll be right back.
Every Saturday, your game is on Fox. Because here, we got the guy that swings harder, the guy that runs faster, hits further, deals nastier. Saturdays on Fox, we got the swag, the scoops, the smiles, the steals. We got the pop, the rips, the threads, the wheels. We got the slides, the kicks, the shuffles, the feels, and picks for the highlight reel. Because Saturdays on Fox, we got you. No big deal.
Drama in Kansas.
Nose to tailgate.
And this is going to be intense. Oh, more trucks into the wall. Oh, it's tight. This is good stuff. You got to make sure you survive.
Great night for racing.
Kansas never lacks the drama, no doubt about it. And Daniel Dye coming off his best finish of the year last time out, Todd.
That's it. 6th at Texas, starting 6th tonight. Wants to get his first top 5 of the season tonight.
We know he'll be chasing it. What about this driver, Tanner Gray? He's had a busy day, Larry.
Yeah, you see starting 18th, double duty, led 86 of 100 laps in that ARCA race today. Got away from him, finished 2nd. He has a top 5 at Kansas back in 2020.
We'll definitely keep an eye on him and also on Christian Eckes, already won so far this season, Todd.
Yeah, 2 wins on the year, but we heard Christian say after practice he was not real happy with his truck. Said they were trying something different, qualified 10th. We'll see if they can adjust it and get to the front.
Yes, we will. All right, we've been talking about all these teams and these drivers, so time now to do our race picks. So we believe can get it done in the Heartland. And Larry, as our guest star, you're up first.
Carry on, my wayward son. Ty Majeski will close the deal for his first win of 2024
I love
tonight.
the music reference. Very good. Ty, what do you think?
Corey Heim gets second win of the season tonight.
Our boys, they are going out on limbs, no doubt, tonight. All right, I'm going with Rajah Caruth. Last time I picked him, he did me a solid, and he got the victory. So I think Rajah
better watch patting yourself on the back like that.
I know. We're going to have to see how these picks do, but we're getting closer and closer to racing out there in the Heartland. So time now to go trackside for the pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise as you are able and remove your hats. And veterans, render a hand salute as the Nevada High School Air Force Junior ROTC Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Here to offer tonight's invocation, please welcome from Advent Health Mid-America Region, Medical Staff and Team Member Wellbeing Director, Dr. Ravi Sabaputhi.
Let's all bow our heads. Dear God, thank you for bringing us all here safely together tonight. We humbly ask that you watch over those that are ill or sick and those that care for them. And Lord, please bless these amazing athletes, not just as drivers and crew members, but also as parents, siblings, and strong humans driven to achieve excellence. Allow these truck masters to maximize all their physical and mental and fitness to fullest capability and safety. And God, please bless this great event and all the wonderful people that are watching here and elsewhere. In your name we pray. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem from the United States Air Force Band of Mid-America, located at Scott Air Force Base, please welcome Staff Sergeant Derek Wilson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
It's a great night in Kansas for racing. The sun is out now, but when this thing ends, it'll be under the lights.
But you know what I say.
What do you say?
Nighttime is the right
That's
time.
right. That is the classic saying, no doubt about it. It's going to be very exciting for Todd, Larry, and myself. That does it for us here on Race Day. Time to go racing in Kansas, and we say hello to Adam Alexander.
Thank you, Caitlin. We are all set and ready to go in the Heartland. Tonight it's 200 miles at Kansas. Here we go.
Over to the west and past the city, a yellow brick road leads the Truck Series to Kansas Speedway. After a 3-week break, these courageous drivers will knock the dust off here in America's Heartland. The first of a 5-race stretch. Focus narrowed, intelligence tested. The battle over 200 miles. Who will be crowned in the Emerald City?
Fox NASCAR live in Kansas City, Kansas. Spring break is over for the Craftsman Truck Series. They make their return here this evening. It's 200 miles from Kansas Speedway, racing at this facility for the 28th time. Hey everybody, and welcome in with Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons. I'm Adam Alexander. We're happy you're here. It's going to be an outstanding night. You know, Michael, everyone tells me this is a driver's racetrack. So why is it that those get behind the wheel love this place so much?
One reason, Adam, options. You can go down in the corner, run right up next to that outside wall. You can shoot through the middle. You can be on the bottom of the racetrack, and that's what a race car driver loves. Chances are a lot of guys are going to run the wall, and if you catch a guy up there and you're faster than him, you can dive to the bottom. And a guy that's got a lot of diving to the bottom to do, Nick Sanchez. He's qualified on the pole 6 times in his career. He's starting out back. He failed inspection, so he'll have to start in the back of the field, and watch for him to charge through this field early on. This season, he's had 2 top 5 finishes the last 2 times out. We know he's got a lot of speed. And then up front, Chase Purdy's going to bring him to the green flag. Set on the pole here a year ago. Always has good speed, getting better and better week in and week out. I'm looking forward to seeing this Bama Buggies machine get it done here tonight in Kansas. Phil, how cool is this track?
It is so awesome, really. As you mentioned, racing all over this racetrack. A couple things we always talk about when we go to the racetrack. Hard to pass, and track position being king. Not necessarily here. Last year, Grant Enfinger won our first race. He started back outside the top 10 in 11th. And then in the fall, we had such a great race. More lead changes than any other mile and a half that we go to. Watch Christian Eckes. This is for the leader, 2 for 1 going on the backstretch. That was the pass for the win. He goes to victory lane, propelling him to one of his 4 wins on the season. This racetrack is so much fun. You see him racing 4 wide behind Christian Eckes, battling for position. All the way to the white line and below it, all the way to the outside wall. So much fun.
I love what Larry said. The nighttime is the right time. Yes,
Will
it is.
Time.
It could be all sorts of times.
It could be. Now we hear from our pit reporters, Jamie Howe and Josh Sims. Ladies first. Hello, Jamie.
Hey, Adam, you know, Ty Dillon's making his return to the Truck Series full-time for this season, and it's been a pretty lackluster start through the first 7 races. He only has 2 finishes inside of the top 20 and none inside of the top 10. But between practice and qualifying, he was able to advance from 27th all the way up to 3rd. He said that he has a truck that he can finally drive. So the key now is to not make any more mistakes. They're going to have the next 5 races in the next 5 weeks, and he said this whole team is taking it as an opportunity to build some momentum and finally get the results they've all been working for. Josh?
Well, Jamie, it's been a tough start to the season for Grant Enfinger and the 9 truck. You look at the numbers for them, 2 top 10s, no top 5s. But this is a place they hope to turn things around. Last year in the spring race, Grant Enfinger dominated here and with a different team, albeit, but still came here with a ton of confidence. I checked in after practice, told me, hey, we're struggling a bit. We got some work to do. We're going to have to work on this truck to get it where it needs to be balance-wise throughout this race. But if they can hit that balance right, they could be a factor in the end.
So we've hit the drivers that won here last season. Enfinger in the spring. In the fall, Phil talked about Christian Eckes. This is the 3rd track that we see in the regular season that we'll see again in the playoffs. So far, so good for driver 19. Bristol, check the box. Martinsville, check the box. Can he hit the trifecta tonight?
Well, he was in such a good position. His team decided to bring a completely different setup here than what they won with last fall, but he wasn't real happy in practice.
No, but nighttime might be the right time for that team. You know, you can make an adjustment here or there. We know how good he is on these big tracks. I look for Christian Eckes to be a factor tonight.
There are some unknowns for these teams, no question. The one known, though, this guy is always at the front. He's led more laps than anybody so far this season. Eckes rolling from the 10th position. It's just about showtime here at Kansas Speedway. Let's go trackside and get the command.
Kansas Speedway, this is the moment you've been waiting for. Please welcome Director of Physician Recruitment from Advent Health Kansas City, Mick Allison.
All right. All right. All right. Drivers, start your engines.
Plenty of energy in the building tonight. Some great sports venues around Kansas City. The focus this weekend, Kansas Speedway and NASCAR. We're green next with the trucks. It's a bit cool, but it's a beautiful night for racing here in Kansas City, Kansas. Trucks rolling off as we anticipate round 8 at this mile-and-a-half. A couple of months ago, we were on a mile-and-a-half in Las Vegas. Turned out to be a wonderful evening for Raja Caruth, second-year driver, delivering big time. Started on the pole and won for the first time of his career. Qualified 4th for tonight's race in that 71 for Team Spire. Let's look at our Craftsman track description.
We're just going to go strictly numbers, Adam. 1.5 miles in length, 17 to 20 degrees of banking. The front straightaway banked 10 degrees, and you can see the back straightaway is a little bit shorter than the front straightaway. I'm not going to talk about how cool this place is anymore, Phil. We've done that, but that's the numbers that make this place work.
Let's take a look at our race analysis. This race is 200 miles. 134 laps. You see the stages 30, 30, and 74. You see the pit window somewhere between 50, 55. That means we're going to have a pit stop in the final stage. Both races last year, we had green flag pit stops here, and Grant Enfinger won this one last year.
Strategy could be big in that final stage. I look forward to that. Even prior to that, really, as drivers flip the stage and so on. So that's certainly something we'll keep an eye on. Now we do our Craftsman starting lineup, front row. Michael mentioned him. Chase Purdy is on the pole, 3rd time in his career, alongside Ty Majeski, who swept the stages earlier this season in Las Vegas.
We talked about Ty Dillon, that great qualifying effort, and you mentioned Raja Caruth, a winner at Las Vegas earlier this year. That's row number 2. And back in row number 3, how about Connor Mozak? Already coming off a win in the ARCA Menard Series earlier today, going to try to make it twofer. And then Daniel Dye, great 6, probably his best race, I think, in the Truck Series last time out of Texas.
Row 4, Jake Garcia, Stuart Friesen. Both these drivers looking for their first top 10 of the season. Row 10, there's Smith, Eckes. How about we pop back up front and get a word with Chase Purdy, our pole sitter. Chase Purdy, it's Michael Waltrip and the Fox team. Do you copy?
The 4, I got you, Mikey.
Well, talking to you earlier today, you had a couple of weeks off in Mississippi. How good does it feel to be back behind the wheel of the truck and having nobody out your front windshield except that pace truck?
Yeah, it's definitely a nice feeling, and it'd be even nicer if we can keep it this way for the whole night.
What will be your biggest challenge in doing just that? Running the high lane, running the low? How will this all play out, you think?
Yeah, I think the first few laps here is just getting a good launch and getting clean air and clear of everybody, and then, you know, be the first one up against the wall in clean air, because that's going to be the name of the game tonight, I think.
All right, buddy. Thanks for your time. We're pulling for you. Have a good one.
The 4, thank you.
Big night for Chase Purdy, starting on the pole here at Texas. Before we go green, one more trip down to pit lane. We start with Josh.
And how about Connor Mozak? Phil mentioned it already. Out here already with a win today on this track here at Kansas. Won the ARCA race earlier today, his 2nd win at Kansas. And he told me earlier, while of course the car is very different from the truck, the things he could take with him are the confidence he built by getting that win and getting that late pass in this race earlier today, as well as how this track drives. Now coming into tonight, this is just his 4th truck race, so he told me still has a lot to learn in terms of what these trucks can do. But he also said, hey, how would it be if I can come out here and get 2 wins here at Kansas in a day? Jamie?
Well, Josh, on the flip side of that, it was Tanner Gray that led 86 laps during that ARCA race. And after what he called a bad decision on his part, he said there was no opportunity to get that lead back. But that disappointment, it's been sitting with him all afternoon. And while it was his best career ARCA finish, he still calls it embarrassing. He said that it doesn't matter where he finished. The goal is only to go out and win. So now he's got to turn his attention to this number 15 truck. And this program really needs to turn around. They're coming off of their best finish of the season with the top 10 and 8th back at Texas, but he said we need some luck on our side tonight. Adam?
A little ground to make up for Tanner Gray, but as Jamie pointed out, he's plenty motivated as we look forward to the green flag tonight. Our onboard cameras, one of them, his teammate, Corey Heim.
Yeah, starting in the 13th position. This guy is the favorite when you talk to all the insiders on pit road. Bob Pockris told me that this is the guy that's going to win the race, so we'll get to ride along with Corey Heim as he fights to do just that.
We're also going to ride along with our buddy Daniel Dye. He's going to start from the 6th spot. This is the RaceToStopSuicide.com Chevrolet. Daniel Dye looking to build on that great finish at Texas when he finished 6th.
Wouldn't you say that was a career night for him?
Without a doubt.
I mean, just a great
solid
run.
all night long.
That's right.
One more pace lap, so let's sneak in a break before we go green. We're live from Kansas Speedway on FS1. The one to go has been given, and another mile and a half will turn them loose here at Kansas. Been a long day for these teams. Garage opened mid-morning. Went through the inspection process yesterday afternoon.
A tough inspection process.
Yeah, very much so.
Adam, you said spring break's over. We're getting ready to get in the meat of this schedule. 5 straight weeks in a row, we're going to run these trucks. And look at these iconic, wonderful racetracks we get to compete on.
Darlington, 1950 they built that racetrack. Wilkesboro even before that.
There's the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and then we wind up this 5-race stretch in St. Louis at the Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Outside of the mile and a half tonight and what we'll see Memorial Day weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway, not a whole lot in common when you look at the next 5 tracks we'll see. And when we wrap things here tonight, we'll be halfway through the regular season. So that championship playoff picture starting to take shape. Let's go Team Radio 19, Christian Eckes.
Thanks for all the hard work, guys. Let's learn a lot tonight and get better for the fall. Thank you. Yes, sir. Let's have a good night.
Isn't it great? They got this place circled to the playoffs. They want to make sure they got a good feel for what it's going to be like. But you know what, Adam? We come back to Kansas in the fall, so it'll be 100 degrees. So things could change dramatically.
It was at least 20 degrees hotter last fall when we were here than it is today.
A little bit surprised. Chase Purdy here takes the bottom. That's his teammate out there. We know how important these restarts are. You want those pushes. Could you get a push from your teammate maybe at this first start? He decides to go low. We'll see how that works out.
Well, he's got Ty Dillon behind him. Ty with a lot of experience, and I think he probably believes he's going to get a pretty good push from Ty because it's certainly going to help him as well.
They're going to go flat out through 1 and 2.
Chase Purdy inside, outside of him, Ty Majeski. We're off and rolling at Kansas Speedway with the Craftsman Truck Series.
Is that Taylor Gray jumping down below the white line?
Once you get past the start-finish line on a start or restart, everything is fair game. No out of bounds at this place.
Look at 3 wide.
Would that take a corner or two to do just that? We talked about it before the race. These guys will not disappoint tonight. Zane Smith diving in low.
Connor Mozak up to second. Yep, 98 out of shape.
How about Daniel Dye? 4 wide now in turn 4.
Is that a scrum, Phil?
I think it is a scrum. Big time scrum.
Wow, that's beautiful though, isn't it? 5 wide? Can I count 5 wide there for a second?
I think so. Corey Heim went through the grass, I think, to try to make some passes.
Oh, and that's Majeski.
That left front's flat.
Yeah, I think he had an issue.
Started on the front row and already a caution.
I think he had an issue in 3 and 4. That's why he was slow in 3 and 4. That tire was probably going down.
But there's no damage. But a slight rub there could cause that.
Could simply run over something as well.
That's terrible.
What a tough break from Majeski.
I bet you he won't have ice cream with me before racing anymore.
Again, a lot of talk in the garage. We talked about Corey Heim, how strong he was. A lot of people talked about this 98 truck being one of the best in practice.
See, he started fading right here.
You see the sparks?
Yeah, the left front's going low there. Only problem I'm worried about, Phil, is dragging the sway bar off as he gets his way back to the pits. Didn't look like a great deal of contact or damage, but that could have caused some suspension issues for that truck. There it is, bouncing off the wall. It's a pretty good lick, though.
Yeah, it was.
He's in a bit of a bind. And we talked about the speed of the Fords and how it's been a struggle a bit for that group, and they had the speed, qualified well, and then bam, into that outside wall.
Ford winless this season, and one of their best trucks having problems early tonight. Caution for Ty Majeski. Didn't even make it 2 laps, already under caution here in Kansas. Ty Majeski had a problem. Let's get a report from his pit and go to Jamie.
Well, unfortunately, the crew did rush through the changes to get him back out there, which wasn't quite fast enough as he did not beat the pace car out. And now they have to come back to pit lane to continue the work that they've been cutting through. So it's gone from bad to worse, and they're just continuing to lose some racetrack time.
I will say, though, you lose a lap. You don't want to do that, certainly. But you got all kinds of time as this race unfolds, especially when we get to the end of the stages. You can find your way back onto the lead lap. The more important thing is making sure this thing is where it needs to be and it can go out And you don't think it is, Mike?
No, it's not anywhere near. I think you see all the concentration on that left front.
Yeah, they're making repairs is what they're doing.
Yeah,
right
that
now.
could be that sway bar I was speaking of, and it just drug the arm off of that left front.
And remember what happened back at COTA. Connor Zilic was in that 7 truck, had the pole, missed the first corner, slid the front tire, had to drive all the way around 3 miles, wore off that sway bar arm. They actually fixed it, got him back on the racetrack, only losing 1 lap. But again, that's a 3.5 mile road course. The caution flags are not near that long here.
And he didn't have any damage on the right front either. There's our buddy Nick Sanchez. I talked about him charging from the back. He's made up a little bit of ground. Up 7 spots. Hey, we're choosing. I think you see Chase Purdy go low because it worked so well the first time.
And we know these drivers are going to be able to run through that corner wide open, especially they won't be quite up to speed throughout this race. So shorter way around the racetrack.
It doesn't matter where you choose, right? Because in the first corner, you're going to be 4 or 5 wide anyway.
Usually it doesn't take
maybe not that long.
Not all. Yeah, I was going to say the second little dog leg there, they're already spread out.
How about Connor Mozak there going to restart on the front row?
Well, let's not forget. I know we talked about the fact he won the ARCA race, only his 2nd start of the year, and all those things. The reality is, he's driving
pretty good truck
for a team that's won twice this year, the 7. We have to put an asterisk on that because it was Kyle Busch, who's the best ever in the Truck Series with 66 career wins. But we know that group is quite capable, and time again, Carson has shown us what a talent he is.
Really, all of Spire has been really, really strong all year long.
Yeah, and I talked to Connor's crew chief, Brian Patty. He said, I've got a pretty big playbook here tonight. We aren't worried about points, so if there's a chance to use strategy around these stage breaks, we could do just that. So it'll be interesting to see how they play it. Right now, I like that second row. You see Zane Smith right there on the back bumper of Chase Purdy. Daniel Dye with a great start. See who can push the hardest. That's what this is going to be about.
Teammates on the front row, teammates on row 2. We'll get the green flag once again as we complete lap 6.
Pretty clean restart right there.
Great push by Zane. You can see he's right on the bumper of that 77. That's going to work.
3 wide before we get to turn 1, just as you predicted, Michael.
Look at that strong run for Eckes off turn 2.
See, Purdy's going to pull down and kind of block the air on the 19 of Eckes.
And the 91 of Smith says, yeah, do that. I'll join you up there on that front row.
Eckes from 10th to 3rd in 3 green flag laps.
How about Corey Heim right now running 4th right behind that 19 of Eckes.
Heim started 13th. He's rallied up to 4th and looking strong in his Toyota.
Did not come clear out of the throttle. Just pedaled out of it a little bit.
Oh, Christian says, I need that space. Corey says, I'm going to bump you and get around you.
I'm going to let you know I was here.
For the lead, Zane Smith, 91, driving inside of Chase Purdy.
Corey Heim's able to slide in between Chase Purdy and Eckes. Corey in that 11 truck.
Chase thinking about diving on the inside and then switches lanes. Oh, gets him a little bit out of whack there.
It's amazing how important the draft is here. These trucks punch such a big hole in the air. You can see you can miss the corner a little bit and make up for it down the straightaway with a draft.
Look how hard Heim drives into the corner all the way up beside the 77 of Purdy.
Chase is going to try to side draft a little bit, kind of pull that truck back a little.
See Eckes trying out the middle, seeing what that'd be like, but Heim with a powerful move off turn 2. Look at the ground he made up there, Phil.
How about Purdy, the only driver in the top 5 that started inside the top 9 tonight? That's pretty impressive.
We got a lot of stuff going on. We thought we would too.
And it just explains how racy this place is, and it'll be that way all night long. Sanchez continues his drive to the front, up to 22nd.
Yeah, got 2 trucks in his sights there to put him in the top 20.
Might get a twofer right here. We've seen that before.
42 is Matt Mills, qualified 15th. 38, the rookie Lane Riggs. No problem for Sanchez.
What about Phil with the call of the twofer? You bring it, buddy.
There's a couple drivers that ran the ARCA Menards race earlier. Dean Thompson, the 5. as well as Tanner Gray in the 15. We talked about Tanner getting that runner-up finish, and Nick said, I'm going to go through the middle maybe.
How about this run?
Sanchez right down the boulevard. If you're keeping track at home, he passed 4 trucks on that lap.
Battle for the lead on the left. Corey Heim, talk of the garage and of the pre-race show and of our opening. We knew how good this 11 truck was going to be. We wanted to make sure everybody at home knew it as well.
And we knew Zane was going to be good too. He's a former winner here. All top 10 finishes in the 3 starts this year in the Truck Series, including 2 top 5s.
Zane Smith won here in 22 en route to his championship, but he's going to fall to second here, I think. Heim looking inside for the top spot in the 11.
I'm telling you, this is impressive, being able to go down. We know the preferred lane is up top, but Corey Heim says, I can do it on the bottom. That is a power move.
Zane uses that momentum from the high side to pull back even with Corey.
You can see those seams there in the corner, the darker asphalt. That's seams that these drivers have to use and try to split, if you will, because it can make your truck not handle properly if you hit it at the wrong time. So they'll be looking at that as they race along. But wow, this is it. To the front, that 11.
High level of concentration. We've had 3 different leaders tonight. Purdy started on the pole, led 7 laps. Zane Smith led 4. And now it's Corey Heim on point.
Corey Heim takes the lead.
About a truck a lap. Started 13th.
Stuart Friesen on pit road for an unscheduled stop. What happened to him, Jamie?
I believe he hit the wall. They came in and just took the right side and took a good look at it before they sent him back out, Adam.
Was running in the 13th position here.
Ooh, scrubbed it. You saw him get a little bit loose, and wow, is he going to... Almost lost that truck.
Talked about Majeski, where he would fit into the equation. If you watch on our pylon, he's back on pit road again. 4 laps down is driver 98. Leading this race is Corey Heim. Zane Smith right behind him. Purdy is 3rd. Eckes and Rhodes complete the top 5. We're halfway home, stage 1.
Phone call from the boss? Sorry. Outdoor time. It's me time.
I hear that. That's why we protect all your vehicles here. But hey, nothing wrong with sticking it to the boss.
Oh, Flo, you're gonna take that? Why would that concern me? Because you're aren't you the...
Huh. We never actually discussed hierarchy.
Okay, why don't we just stick to letting Dave know how much he can save when he bundles his home or auto with his boat or RV?
Wait, I thought Jamie was the boss.
It's funny because I'm not boss material.
Inez, let me ask you. You're using Head & Shoulders, right?
Only when I see flakes. Then I switch back to my regular shampoo.
You should use it every wash. Otherwise, the flakes will come back.
He's right, you know.
Is that Tiny Troy?
The ingredients in Head & Shoulders keep the microbes that cause flakes that big.
Microbes, really?
They're always on your scalp. Little rascals. But good news, there's no itchiness, dryness, or flakes down here.
I love Tiny Troy and his tiny, gorgeous hair.
He's the best.
Make every wash count. Little help, please?
Right now, you can get a free footlong at Subway. Just buy any footlong in the app and get 1 free. Just scan the QR code and enter promo code FLBOGO. It only works from the other side of the screen, buddy.
You still got a landline in your house.
Order now on the Subway app.
What does fearless look like? Like sliding through a glimmer of daylight?
Side by side for the top spot.
Like trading paint with a champion? Like starting in the back of the pack and stopping at nothing till everyone is choking on your dust. What does fearless look like? Find out for yourself. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Tomorrow on Fox.
He's got a man!
Arlington takes on Michigan. Then San Antonio battles DC.
Touchdown!
The United Football League begins tomorrow at 1 Eastern on Fox.
Texas, a land of mystery and legend, teeming with life. This is a story for all who love Texas.
Is this how you dance on the razor's edge? How you beat the heat? Will this gladiator be the last one standing? Last question. Are you not entertained?
Just shy of 20 laps in here at Kansas City, Kansas. Craftsman Truck Series Racing on a Saturday night. Corey Heim is the race leader. Took over a handful of laps ago, and he's led 8 circuits so far this evening. Josh?
Yeah, for Corey Heim, despite qualifying 13th, so outside the top 10, he knew he had a good long-run truck, and as you see, made his way through the field to the front of the pack. His only complaint right now, the truck is just a bit free, but for Corey Heim, he talked about the word redemption, which we've heard a lot from him in the past, but he told me last year at the 2 races at Kansas, those were some of the best trucks he had. Said, I had this thing just about wrapped up in the fall and wasn't able to close it out. This track owes me one, and I want to get that out here tonight.
He's sending a message to the competition early. Heim leading, and Zane Smith in second. He's led 5 laps tonight. And a good start to the race for our pole sitter, and that would be Chase Purdy. He's back there in the 3rd spot and led 7 laps this evening.
Right behind him is Christian Eckes, and Eckes is challenging for that 3rd spot. We talked earlier in practice, he was not happy at all, but it looks like he's got some good speed in that Napa truck.
Yeah, reigning champion Ben Rhodes, the 99, right now riding in the 5th spot.
How bad does he need a great run? It's been a struggle this year for Ben.
1 top 10 finish so far. There you see Ben Rhodes, and I'm really keeping my eye on the guy that's behind Ben Rhodes, and that's the 45 of Caden Honeycutt. Nice as a whole only has 3 top 10 finishes all year long. One of those was by Ross Chastain, and Caden Honeycutt in a limited schedule has 2 of them up to the 6th spot.
This is only his 24th career start. He got that solid finish at Atlanta earlier this season. Does a great job. Shows a lot of speed every time he gets behind the wheel.
Behind him in the 25, another driver that needs a good run. That would be Ty Dillon. Hasn't been in the top 10 so far this year. I would say, though, his 3 career wins came at 1.5-mile tracks. And while they struggled in practice earlier today, they did impress in qualifying. They've got speed early in the race.
There's Daniel Dye right behind him in that 43 truck. There's Connor, good shot of him. There's Dye's race to stop suicide on board. And he's had a nice start to this race. Got up to 4th, falling back a couple of spots, but solidly inside the top 10.
Yeah, only 6 laps to go to the end of stage 1. The 18 truck of Tyler Ankrum right there rounds out the top 10, trying to grab that 9th spot from Daniel Dye. Great start of the season for Tyler Ankrum. A little bit of trouble here lately, a little bad luck, but he's been had a fast truck all year long.
He's been really quiet today, both in practice and qualifying, but serving notice early. He's got something for him in the 18.
Stage points on the line as well.
No question. You said it, 5 to go in the stage, and he needs all he can get. 3 top 5s this year for the driver out of California.
And probably milked more cows than anybody else in the whole field. He's a farmer up in Statesville, North Carolina. The 71 truck of Roche has been falling back. He's outside the top 10. There's Taylor Gray taking away a spot. And there's our buddy Brett Moffitt, former truck champion. He's back with us, Jamie, and that's so good to say.
Yes, it is. His first race back in any of the NASCAR ranks in the 2024 season. He's been at home being a full-time dad, he said, and with that, he's certainly more reflective. He appreciates these opportunities more than he did in the past, but for him, it's not about learning this truck or learning the track or any of that. It's all about learning the new crop of drivers. He said this first stage, probably half of the second stage, was just going to be seeing who he can race clean with and who's going to take just a little more effort at the end.
I'm excited. He's racing tonight. We'll see him again at the end of the month at Charlotte Motor Speedway, driving that 1 truck for Tricon Garage.
Nice pass that right there to grab a spot.
He says he hopes to add more races as well, but for now it's here in Charlotte, and he's doing a nice job as we expected.
3 to go, stage 1. Heim has an advantage of 0.6 of a second over second place Zane Smith. Eckes, Purdy, Honeycutt, the top 5.
All stage points at stake right here. Gunnar Mosak trying to grab that 7th spot, has it from Ty Dillon.
Started in the top 5, drifted back to 7th, 8th, 9th, and now Mosak with a nice rally late in stage 1 with 2 to go.
And you said it, Phil, that 18's got some strength too. Ankrum really powering up there. There's a battle for 5th. Honeycutt gets it away from Rhodes and is just going to drive away off turn 2.
Honeycutt, 4th start of the year, going toe-to-toe with the best. And this is a significant track for that team. Nice Motorsports winning for the first time in organization history right here at Kansas. 2019 45 truck courtesy of Ross Chastain.
And who was the crew chief on that truck for Ross Chastain?
Phil Gould.
Phil Gould. And who was the crew chief?
Phil Gould.
Phil Gould. Common denominator.
Let me give you another little tidbit about that truck. Carson Hocevar drove it here last year. How'd he do?
He did pretty well, and he's lurking in the booth. He will join us stage 2 tonight.
Yeah, you know what I love about that? He's got his notebook out. He's just watching, talking, figuring all this out. It's been good to have him up here.
Corey Heim takes over middle of the stage, and he's going to win the first stint of the race. It's his second stage win of the year. He's led 18 laps so far tonight. Second place, Zane Smith. Eckes is third. Purdy and Honeycutt complete the top 5. Rhodes, Mozak, Ankrum, Dillon, and Dye collecting stage points as well. We're off and rolling at Kansas Speedway. So far, it's all about Heim. Stage 1 complete for the Craftsman Truck Series at Kansas. That'd be a great way to consume from the infield, right? A little fire, watching the TV. I like it.
Maybe a little barbecue,
some
ribs. How about a cold beer, too, while you're out?
Okay. I know where you're going with that.
No, I'm not.
Stage 1 points. Good night for Corey Heim. Second stage win of the year. Eckes was solid. Purdy, after starting on the pole, finished 4th. Honeycutt impressive. So was Ben Rhodes, our reigning champ. Tyler Ankrum with 3 stage points there.
Would you believe that's the lowest a stage 1 winner has started in the last 3 years here in the Truck Series?
How about it?
How about that?
Charging, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
You're full of good information. Ty Majeski had the early problem. He's taken his truck to the garage. First truck 1 lap down, Mason Maggio. He gets the free pass. Everybody on pit road. Jamie Howe.
For Caden Honeycutt, we saw him able to move up those 16 positions, but he told Phil Gould that the last 5 or 6 laps he was getting pulled up towards the wall. Felt like he was wearing that right rear just a little bit more than anywhere else. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, give him a clean windshield. Josh.
For the 91 of Zane Smith, he said he started to get free towards the end of that run, especially in the nose. They're going to tighten him up, moving on to the 19 of Christian Eckes. He said that truck, who had brought a different setup this time around, trending a little too tight, making an air pressure adjustment for the 19. And the 11 of Corey Heim, your stage 1 winner, said this is the freest I've ever been on a mile and a half. I'm going to need you guys to tighten me up as well.
Bit of a delay on the 11. Opens the door for Christian Eckes to win the race off of pit road. +2 for him, +3 for Honeycutt, who comes off second. Zane lost a spot, -3 for Heim. Sanchez +8 was 5th off of pit road. What a start to this race for him, and someone going to get a penalty. A tire escaped. About halfway down pit road.
See if we can identify which truck it comes off of.
Is it Matt Crafton?
Or is it 66?
Maybe the 25, which was 66 was right in that area as well.
Cam Waters lost a tire. And then Lawless Allen has some issues. He can't get his truck rolling on pit road now. Teams running, chasing him. A lot going on in that stop.
When we come back, stage 2, and a special guest in the booth. Carson Hocevar is here. Stay with us. It's the Trucks in Kansas.
This is the make or break moment.
Oh my goodness!
Not just for the day, but for the years to come. This is where a race isn't just about the race. It's about the doors it can open.
That kid is amazing.
The number of fans wearing your number. This is the chance to carve your name into the history books. This is the NASCAR Xfinity Series. NASCAR is coming back to Chicago. The Chicago Street Race Weekend. For tickets and experiences, visit NASCARChicago.com.
Joe Graff, we're live on FS1. How you doing? How's the car?
I'm doing all right. We're a little bit tight. It's a little bit wet out there, but we're having some fun.
How's the hot rod? It's raining right now, but what are we going to do when it's dry?
How on earth did you get a mic?
The fact I haven't got this microphone pulled from me is a shocking deal. How early do you have to wake up in the morning to do the mustache? How long does it take? What's the average? All right, Justin Allgaier, you're finally on the step so you can see eye to eye almost. How's your race car today?
In show business, it's called Apple Box, so that you can stand on top of it.
It's a stair, though.
Happy to be here.
Fantastic. Glad we're on the same plan. See, we too like racing, and they don't. They ain't stopping for you. See ya. Bye. Thank you.
You know, Phil and I needed the apple box up here tonight. We didn't have two, so we just decided to lean against the desk. Carson Hocevar joining us here in the booth. You know, the last couple of years we're doing trucks and we're talking all about you, but now you're a big Cup superstar. What do you think about being up here for a truck race in the booth?
It's making me jealous that I'm not racing, to be honest. I'm getting a lot of familiarity, especially seeing how good the 45 is with Caden Honeycutt. It's been super cool to see Phil and them, but a lot of moving around, guys, you know, just moving from the back to the front and front to the back. A lot of adjustments probably get done, but a lot of fun. This place is always really fun as a driver, so I'm excited to call it here up with you guys.
You said fun a couple of times. I saw your campaign to get into the All-Star race. That's fun as well. I love your spirit, your character. Being able to drive a race car is a privilege, and I know you really appreciate that.
I do. I'm so thankful that I get to do what I love, but also too, I would do this. I'm who I am, and I'm going to have fun as much as I can. I'm just thankful that I get to show that and be able to be an opportunity that, they don't try and silence me at all, and I could just be myself, and luckily that brings smiles to everybody else around me, hopefully.
You know, Adam mentioned that you ran all 3 series last year. How do these trucks compare to that Cup car that you're running full-time now?
A lot similar than you'd expect. They have the big, and the trucks, they have the big right rear quarter panel. Well, we have a big underwing. So as long as you take a little bit of grain of salt, the power ratio to downforce and drag and everything, it's really not that far. So it's been an easy transition, or easier transition. But yeah, a lot of fun.
Ty Majeski did go to the Infield Care Center, has been released. We're ready to get the restart here to begin stage 2. Eckes inside of Caden Honeycutt. We're racing to the green and white checker at lap 60, and they are getting antsy right before we go green.
Off the racetrack, onto the apron, 3 wide, just like we expected. Great jump there by Eckes in that 19.
Guys, I think we saw something that I think we're going to see all night. The top really didn't fire off through the restart. I've never seemed to figure it out, and that's going to be a battle what we deal with all day.
Look at Sanchez going right up the middle, outside of Mozak.
That takes a little bit of nerve, doesn't it, Carson, to thread the middle like that?
It does, but if you've gone for the back like him, you just pass so many cars. You have a little bit more confidence than you do, and you just overshadows your thought here. Is he's still here middle 3, but I know he's going to stay to throttle. That gets your attention, though.
Yeah, loose in the middle of 3. That's crazy. That's crazy talk.
Yeah, running virtually wide open and then get loose down there.
Yeah, right here, he's going to get in the sucker hole. That's the worst spot as you had. You had all this forward progression. You've had all this speed, and it's just really a confidence gut punch to just get a reality check here that you're not Superman like you thought you were yet, and he's going to be able to rebound here, I'm sure.
Carson, we talked early on about how the draft is so critical with these trucks here at this racetrack.
Yeah, it's huge. You can get past it. It's one thing to pass, it's another thing, or it's one thing to catch, it's another thing to pass. But here, you could get such a big run. A guy goes down to the bottom, you get a little bit of clean air on the top. You can build such a run that the draft is just double, and you could just get a huge run down into 1, and especially 2. That's really where you're going to see a lot of passes.
Teammates trading blows at the front. It was Christian Eckes, now Zane Smith back out front in the 91.
And with them trading blows, Adam, as you said, here comes Corey Heim. That draft that we just talked about, it allows those other trucks to close in quickly. And Eckes says, you might have grabbed the lead from me, but I'm not giving up yet.
He's going to duck back in behind the 91 to catch that little bit of draft. Follow him down in the corner on the bottom of the racetrack, while Corey Heim, that 11, stays on the outside.
It really starts to become a game of chess here as they start to spread out. You just start to the guy behind is really driving the car out in front. With all that draft, it's really keeping them in tow. That it's just a game of trying to not ever get caught out and behind somebody. You just want as much clean air, because if you just lose so much momentum, you have 2 or 3 guys drafting on you, and you really just get yourself in a spot you don't want to be.
How would you like to be our cameraman, Adam? They're going to get dizzy looking around this racetrack and seeing all these battles that are going on all over the racetrack. It's so fun to see.
I would say there's a lot of give and take, but it's mostly take, especially really throughout the run. So many times we talk about it right after a restart, but throughout the runs we have seen various drivers making moves and creating opportunities. Here's Brett Moffitt in the 1. back in the trucks, 2018 champion, won here a few years ago, and he's worked his way up to 7th, diving inside of Ty Dillon.
Started all the way back in the 19th position, so obviously Moffitt has a good truck.
You know, we talked about Carson Smile and getting to drive, talking about a guy that's happy to be back in the trucks. That's Brett Moffitt. We talked to him in the garage and just really appreciative of this opportunity with Tricon and getting to race. It's just so cool to see the champ back.
Big week for Brett Moffitt, too. Baby number 2.
Moffitt party of 4, he put.
That's right.
On the internet.
Brett and his wife Stephanie welcomed baby number 2.
Great battle for the lead, as you see. Off the racetrack goes Zane Smith, trying to break that draft we talked about. Corey Heim right there in this battle. Caden Honeycutt is 4th, but he can't quite get there.
You see, Michael, I mean, you just saw 3 cars go through, and all of them had clean air, or cleaner-ish air. With it being so wide, there's so many options. The most frustrating part is when you're the guy in 4th and they take all 3 lanes. So that part is the battle, but there's just so many options here that you could just get clean air and you can get around.
Did you see that? Moffitt inside, just about got away from him, racing Sanchez for position.
Yeah, I think Nick Sanchez helped that situation, helped him get loose down there.
Connor Mozak, I'm impressed with this kid. You mentioned it, Phil, got that big ARCA race win earlier, but this is speed. This is a good run for him. Ty Dillon probably come up to the bumper and give him a shove, help them both out.
These are somewhat teammates to yours, Carson, the Spire Motorsports Group.
Yeah, you know, obviously
out of the same shop,
they
right?
work really hard on their truck program. Obviously, they've done very well this year, but that's almost sometimes more difficult because now you just set the expectations for the rest of the year, right? So, yeah, I know they're working really hard to just keep the speed they had. You know, they're going to probably need to work on them just to hear a little bit, but still 2 inside the top 10, and the 3rd one just right behind.
Hard to believe. We're already past halfway in stage 2. It happens fast in the Truck Series, in case you had forgotten, Carson. And this can happen as well. Moffitt hanging on to it. Inside of 10 laps to go, stage 2 for the Craftsman Truck Series here at Kansas. 8th race, 2024. And good to be back after a couple of weeks away. Zane Smith, a series champion, coming back to where it all began, and he's out front.
He said it's good to be back.
Yeah, he's led 18 laps tonight.
Yeah, and he also said he had a really good truck after practice, was confident in what his number 91 could do here tonight. He's got a nice lead here over Corey Heim.
Heim up to 2nd after winning stage 1, lost a few spots on the pit lane, but he's coming back. Eckes 3rd, Honeycutt 4th. Chase Purdy hanging in the top 5. Moffitt did get by Sanchez.
There he is, trying to chase down the 77 of Chase Purdy. Chase has done a nice job here from the pole, staying up here in contention.
Moffitt was about a 10.5 second better last time around, so Moffitt's on the charge.
The back end of that one just likes to dance a little bit. Do you get uncomfortable watching that up here? I get nervous at times in the booth watching Carson.
No, I don't, honestly. I don't know if that's good or bad. Those Tricon trucks always seem to have a lot of speed, so maybe that was something they figured out, and I hadn't 100% caught on to that. But, you know, for him, it's got to be like riding a bike here, Adam, right? You know, he's got to be smiling ear to ear more than anybody in this field right now.
What about it, Jamie?
We were talking about Brett Moffitt. The team just said, when you have a chance, give us just a little bit of a balance update. He very quickly responded. He said, we fired off just a little bit free, but overall, this truck is pretty darn good. He said, it's starting to get a little bit neutral, but I'm pretty happy.
Brett Moffitt is one of those drivers that's not afraid to run right up that last foot next to the outside wall. Always been comfortable doing that.
I'm laughing up here because he hasn't had to experience this in a few weeks, right? Anything that he's out there, he's going to say is probably pretty good, right? He's just thankful to be out here, but obviously he's had a lot of speed, passed a lot of cars. The driver in me just knows I'm not going to be picky now of these trucks, and just excited to see what he can do for, when he gets an adjustment here and could get to stage 3.
A little bit worried about Raja early, but he seems to be rebounding here. He's making his way back inside the top 10. We're getting ready to have a battle for the lead. I think you'll see as he works that wheel off turn 4. I love that. You'll see Corey Heim close in here. Last couple of times by, he's been about a 10th better than the leader, Zane Smith. And now, Phil, he's getting there in that draft zone, starting to pull up.
I was going to say, does he have time? Going to be 3 to go when we hit the start-finish line this time around.
One thing I'm noticing, guys, a lot of guys getting off the wall a little bit as this place rubbers up. They're trying to run the seams a little bit more. There's a lot of grip that starts to build on that rubber, and that just really can just be an adjustment for a driver. It really, you know, if you're free, you're going to put the left sides on the seam, and if you're tight, or if you're free, you're going to put it on the right side. If you're tight, you're going to just, you know, just put it on the left side and just try and de-wedge that truck a little bit.
Lap truck slides in between the top two. Allows Zane to put a little gap between himself and second place, Corey Heim. 2 to go, second stage. The advantage 1 second for the 91.
You know, for the folks watching home, Carson, those seams look pretty innocent, but they can really move the truck around, huh?
They can. That's why it could be such a tool for you. I mean, it's an exaggerated thing compared to what you should see, right? You wouldn't expect it, right? But in the truck, it could just be a world of difference. It could be the make or break if your car just finds all that speed. You know, you see guys all of a sudden get a lot of speed later half of the run. It's probably because they find something, and especially too that when you have seams like that, they find something on that seam.
It looks like Zane is trying to straddle that seam, trying not to get his left sides or his right sides on the seam.
I think Zane heard what I said about Heim, that he was coming, and he took off. Now he's lit it up now, and he changed that line a little bit, maybe running in 1 and 2 on that seam.
You know, 4 times this year, a driver has swept stage 1 and stage 2. It's not going to happen tonight. Stage 1 goes to Corey Heim. He's going to be second in this second stage of the race. Give the win to Zane Smith. It's his 4th stage win here at Kansas Speedway. Heim in front of Eckes, Honeycutt, and Purdy complete the top 5. Moffitt, Sanchez, Carruth, Mozak, and Rhodes scoring points. What a great night it is for the Craftsman Truck Series here in Kansas Speedway. Tomorrow on FS1, the NASCAR Cup Series gets ready for 400 miles of full throttle action here in Kansas. The pre-race kicks things off 2 Eastern time. Green flag flies at 3. It's tomorrow on FS1. Earlier today, Christopher Bell won the pole. Carson Hocevar qualified 22nd. We look forward to watching him race tomorrow. He's with us in the booth tonight. 2 stages down for the trucks. There's that beautiful sunset. Zane Smith on point as we anticipate pit stops.
Pit road is going to be open this time by. See what kind of action we get on pit road.
Pit work was enormous at the end of stage 1. There's the point breakdown tonight. Good evening for Corey Heim. Won stage 1, second in stage 2. Eckes impressive as well. Here they are, Jamie.
And first that you're going to see come to the box on the screen is going to be Brett Moffitt in that number 1 truck. You see him right there on the left-hand side of your screen. And he said that the last 5 laps of that, he really started just to get a little bit free. But before that, the truck was pretty good. So they're going to just go down on the air pressure. Running him on pit lane is that number 45 of Caden Honeycutt. We've talked about how impressive he's been all night. He said that second stage, it was the complete opposite of the first stage. He said he fired off tight, but the longer it went, the truck really came to him. Josh.
Well, for the 91 of Zane Smith, your stage 2 winner, said the truck was just a little bit numb. Said the adjustments after stage 1 were in the right direction. They're going to have more of that on this next adjustment. And for the 11 of Corey Heim, that last run said just too free. It needs to be tightened up more than he was.
19 crew getting it done. +2. He wins the race. Off pit road does Christian Eckes. Heim comes out second, holding serve there. Honeycutt +1. And then look down there in 8th. Zane Smith came in with the race lead. Leaves pit road 8th, -7 for the man that won here in 2022. Final stage coming your way next on FS1. It's a busy time on the schedule for the Craftsman Truck Series, racing for the first of 5 consecutive weeks at Kansas Speedway. 2 stages into books, and we are ready to make it happen in the final stage. Before we move forward, let's go back to the end of stage 1. Scary moment on pit road. Lawless Alan making a pit stop and collided with one of his crew members. Let's get an update there with Jamie Howe.
That crew member was the front tire changer. His name was Brandon Henry, and he was sent over into the infield care center, where he was been evaluated. He has been released, and he is now back on pit lane with the team just to watch the final stages of this race. But certainly a scary moment down here, Adam.
Yeah, you could see Lawless just got in his box too hot and slid those tires, and unfortunately made contact with one of his team members. Those pit crew members, Carson, you can attest to this. These guys are tough. Let's listen in and see what the 33 radio said.
I got confused on I thought the 38 and the 33 on my thing were switched, so I was going in front of them. That's completely my fault.
Well, fortunately, checked and released from the infield care center and ready to do battle again.
Yeah, I mean, that's a driver's nightmare, right? You go to battle with these guys week in and week out. You don't want to, you don't even want to make the mistake of missing your box or anything, but especially, put your guys at risk there. So good thing that, obviously he's checked and released and can go back to work here.
Zane Smith won stage 2, but lost 7 positions on pit road. Let's hear their radio.
We'll get that one out of the way, and the next one will be money. Sorry about that. We went from here to first one. We'll do it again. With us getting in at an angle like that, I'll just remind you to get your wheel back straight. It was still doable, but that's all. It just kind of drug on the door and didn't quite get all the way up on the hub. It was just a hang exchange. It was the biggest.
Yeah, they were talking about him actually driving in the pits. Watch how he's going to actually turn the truck back out to try to get pointed back out, and it really didn't straighten the wheel back up. Typically, you have a piece of tape on the steering wheel where the pit crew wants you to have that wheel for a pit stop.
Yeah, that's obviously a killer, right? But they're still in it, right? They're still 7th, not the end of the world, but obviously, you were up there leading, you had all that clean air, feeling really good. Just a little bit of, just going to be a little bit of a gut punch that you're going to have to get back up and get back going here in this stage.
Sun's going down, Adam. It's going to get right.
And the track could go through a bit of a transformation here. Front row for the restart final stage. Christian Eckes, Corey Heim. We're green again at Kansas.
Nice push by Sanchez and that 2 truck.
Look at him off the racetrack, 4 wide. Craziness.
Orange and black truck 17, Taylor Gray. 43's Daniel Dye as Eckes jumps out front.
Eckes, a lot of options here.
Oh,
not sure where to drop.
What a mess that was. Looked like Brett Moffitt went up the hill a little bit. Wasn't clear. Made some contact, but everybody shuffled through it.
I think that 7 truck in the middle right there was completely sideways. Connor Mozak off for turn 2.
Hey, Phil, you remember where the 2 of Sanchez started?
Yeah, about last.
Look where he's going. You talked about how racy this place is. There's a great example of it. From last to first goes the 2 truck of Sanchez.
You just saw the draft we were talking about, Michael. We almost saw 2 trucks pass the 19. He got off the corner pretty well, but with the new tires, they kind of were able to just hold a lot of throttle here and just drag back and, sideways.
That'll get your attention. And watch Caden Honeycutt, a big run in that 45 truck, and here comes Zane Smith in the 91.
What a great battle up. Ooh, you saw Zane, you saw the fire come out of the exhaust pipes, had to back off. Eckes was going to squeeze him into the outside wall.
A little crossover there, start finish line. Corey Heim goes back to the front.
How about Caden Honeycutt? The 45 truck drives to 2nd.
I told y'all that's a fast truck, isn't it, Carson?
Yeah, it's obviously real quick. A lot of memories that I got in that thing, but a lot of options opening up even more so. Obviously the track temp starting to cool down. New tires here.
See that? Eckes completely sideways. Sorry.
Absolutely. There's a lot going on here, guys. Side by side, Zane and Nick here. Zane's going to try and slide up and get Nick in as much dirty air as physically possible here.
Let's see this slide. Woo! And Nick, you see on the upper left end of the screen, Nick's got to be saying, what happened? I drove up and got the lead, now I'm 5th.
it's just the nature of this beast. I mean, it's just so tough. If you lose momentum, especially on these restarts, Michael, they could just swallow you up, especially right here late in the stage 3. Everybody's adjusted on their car. Track's temp starting to get a little cooler, so everybody's starting to, the ceiling is starting to become a little bit lower to the floor, and everybody's starting to get a little closer here.
Well, a nice advantage right now for Corey Heim, but Zane Smith in that 91, after those pit road problems and getting squeezed up high, he's on a mission.
Yeah, he's got about be the hungriest driver right now, right?
+6 since the restart for Zane Smith.
Was able to make that pass on the 19 of Eckes and hold that line. Now he's going after that 45 of Honeycutt.
You know, when you go cup racing, Adam, it's a different animal. And when you're able to come back and run a Truck Series race and show everybody, yeah, I haven't forgotten how to drive. I'm going to win in Cup one day. We've thought that about Zane Smith since he showed up. And we're seeing that talent right here, being able to drive to the front.
Well, he only gets a few more shots in this. I'm not sure how many more he's got left, but you know, when you get this opportunity, you definitely want to come out and win. And he knows he has a limited start, so he's going to do everything he can, especially here, place he's won before. I know he's hungry, and I talked to him before, and he was really excited about his truck at the start of the day.
As we talked early in the show, remember last year, both races we had green flag pit stops. We're a long way from that right now, but remember, we will have pit stops in this final stage.
Let's celebrate the success of Tanner Gray. Spent a lot of time outside the top 10, top 15 in those first 2 stages, but here he is, 6th in the running order as we hit the halfway point.
There goes Eckes. Here comes Zane. What a battle.
This is the toughest spot, right? Because you're not sure if you're 100% supposed to let your teammate go. You don't know which one of you is faster, as Zane's going to cross it back over and try to get back another spot.
I think that was a byproduct of the draft for Christian Eckes, being able to use that draft to get by Zane. Now Christian got a little loose off the corner as well. I thought he might make a little bit of a run back at Zane, but had to pedal a little bit.
Good night for Tricon Garage. 4 trucks inside the top 10, including the race leader Corey Heim. He's led 27 laps tonight.
What does it take to become a legend? Generations of victory.
One of the great masters of the sport.
Motor oil in your veins. Does it take irrational confidence? A little bit of last lap magic? What about fandom that runs in the family? A track where every mile becomes a memory. Or maybe it's simply knowing that new legacies are built one lap at a time.
Just over 50 laps remaining for the Craftsman Truck Series at Kansas with Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons, Carson Hocevar. I'm Adam Alexander, and we have a battle for the lead. Corey Heim out front, but Caden Honeycutt not going away, knocking on the door.
He's really making it happen. Had his truck all the way up beside Corey Heim as Corey goes by Jennifer Jo Cobb in the lap truck there. We could be saying a name here tonight we're going to hear a lot from in the Truck Series. When you make a statement like Caden Honeycutt has done tonight, go up there and battle with Corey Heim for the lead in that 45 truck. This is a huge night for that kid.
I think what we've seen so far is a career-defining moment for Caden Honeycutt. Hopefully he can finish it off as we continue to watch this battle for third between the 91 of Zane Smith and the 19 of Christian Eckes.
These two need to make up their mind. One of them needs to take over that position, Carson.
I tell you what they're doing. They're letting the top 2 get away here, though. You know, Honeycutt, he's done such a great job. We obviously know how fast and how good Heim has been everywhere he goes, right? But Caden to be able to do this on a part-time schedule, you know, still learning this Nice organization and learning Phil Gould, to be able to do this just in a few starts he has is really impressive.
You know Phil Gould really well, and I know he's got a smile on his face watching his young racer get it done here in Kansas.
Yeah, you know, obviously they ran really well with myself last year. They were really excited, but you know, this year, you know, they haven't 100% got off to the start they really wanted to as an organization. But you know, Kansas for me last year was always just the defining moment of what really could set myself up and really reset our season. I think Nice as an organization is doing that with Caden running second, but also Bailey Curry running 7th here.
Last Saturday, Honeycutt made his second start in an Xfinity car, driving for Mario Gosselin, and spent a lot of time in the top 20. So as we've said, the talent is there, and right of your screen, the man calling the shots. We've talked about him so much this evening, Phil Gould.
Caden Honeycutt, 20 years old, out of Willow Park, Texas, and he's thinking, I'm going to win here in Kansas. He's faster than Heim right now. You can see him make those moves. And, you know, learning right now, Carson, that's really difficult. It's one thing to be able to catch the guy, but then what do you do to get around him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's in a big hurry, right? I think as long as he keeps in touch with Corey, that's the win right now. You know you have pit stops coming up. As least as you keep in tow, you could keep the race afloat for you and not let him get away and keep in that draft and give yourself a real good shot here later in the race.
Bailey Curry doing an awesome job tonight in the 41, although he lost a spot to Taylor Gray. 17's been top 10 every week since they crashed out on that final lap at Daytona.
Now Taylor's going after his brother Tanner in that 15 truck, trying to grab another spot.
What's it with Al Neese? Bailey Curry's from Texas too. He likes those Texas kids, doesn't he?
He does.
How do you end up with a Michigan driver?
I was going to say, it doesn't really. I don't fall under that category, Michael, but I'm definitely glad he. Obviously, Al's done a lot for me and a lot for my career, but definitely willing to do a lot for other race car drivers' careers. And I think he's doing just that with Caden. I know he's going to have a bright future here.
What about the Gray brothers? That's cool. I think they were 8th and 9th at Texas, or right together in the top 10.
Yeah, 7th and 8th, I think maybe. Yeah.
And here they are again. I guarantee you one thing, Caden Honeycutt's got Corey Heim's attention. He sees that number 45 white Chevy in his mirror, and those moves he's able to make from time to time. He's going to have a big draft here.
And I love the fact that he's not pushing the issue. As Carson was talking about, he's just comfortable riding back there within right now 0.3 of a second of Corey Heim, knowing we have another pit stop and a lot of things can change.
We're going to see you again in the booth at Charlotte, Carson. Watching tonight, does it motivate you to go back and run some truck races?
It does. I'm obviously happy where I'm at doing the cup level right now and focusing on that. But I definitely would love to get back here. But in the meantime, I'm loving it, enjoying this. I'm thankful you guys get to bring me in the booth and get to see a different perspective. But I've had a lot of fun up here tonight.
Real quick. When you come to pit road here under green flag, how challenging is that entry, getting down to pit road speed and make sure you maximize, and how will that affect Caden Honeycutt with the lack of experience that he has?
There's so many different factors, Michael. The biggest thing is that splitter. There's very much, it's way around the corner, so your splitter's on the ground, and when you try to make that transition, it's super sharp onto pit road. It's not it's not easy transition, so it's super easy to almost lock the left front on entry, but more so when you pit the truck, sometimes the nose doesn't set back down, so the exit is so far around. If you don't get your nose in the air or nose on the ground, there's a lot of lift that really could cost you on exit. That's a lot of time where you make your money or lose your money is on exit of pit road.
We're talking about these green flag pit stops. They'll be happening soon. As we anticipate that, we say thank you to Carson for coming by. We'll see you in Charlotte, and good luck in the Cup car tomorrow, okay?
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys.
Right.
I had a blast.
Carson Hocevar joining us in the booth tonight. We've got more from Kansas after you watch this on FS1. 40 laps to go at Kansas for the Craftsman Truck Series. Won't be long before we get green flag pit stops, and right on cue, here's the leader, Corey Heim.
Corey Heim had a second lead over Caden Honeycutt. I'm going to be really interested, Josh, to see how these pit stops play out for the finish of this race.
Zane Smith in as well. Let's go to Josh.
For the 91 of Zane Smith, he's been complaining about being too loose in that truck, since it's just too much on top of the track right now. As far as the 11 of Corey Heim, it's been a free truck all night long. They've continued to work at it to get him what he needs, but he's been dominating this race so far. Jamie?
And coming into the stop now is Caden Honeycutt, and he said to Phil, he said, tell me where my marks are. Phil Gould very calmly said, I will count you to the box. He hit the marks perfect. It's going to be 4 tires. Getting in the tear off right behind him, Brett Moffitt in that number 1 truck also coming into pit lane. Green flag pit stop, first time of the year for him, Josh.
Well, for the 19 of Christian Eckes, he said that truck has just been building too tight. That's been an issue for him all night long. He said he worked those fronts too hard, trying to stay up with Zane, so they're going to try and help him out for this final run.
Looked like a bit of a hiccup for the 45 of Caden Honeycutt. We'll see how it all settles out as everything cycles through scheduled green flag pit stops at Kansas.
And just remember, this is the money stop. You can't have a penalty here. You can't speed as a driver. You've got to make sure you do your job in and out of pit road. Caden looked like he did a nice job onto pit road, but the team had an issue changing the tires.
But look at top left of your screen. That's the 11 of Corey Heim after his pit stop. And there's the 45 coming off of pit road on the inside of that 4-wide situation there.
Daniel Dye has not made a pit stop. He has taken over the race lead. Tyler Ankrum, Connor Mozak, Mason Massey, all still must pit. Same for Timmy Hill.
Oh, Caden Honeycutt throwing the block on Christian Eckes, and Eckes said, I'm not having any of that.
See, Zane Smith is right in front of this duo to grab that spot. A couple spots lost for Caden Honeycutt on the pit stop exchange. Wow.
I think he said, lay off me, brother. With his steering wheel, he said that. That was crazy.
And remember, Caden Honeycutt has a fast truck, too, so I'm sure he's not going to take kindly to that.
And look at Eckes. He's going to chase him down there. Caden's got to be really careful here down on the bottom. That truck will get loose in a hurry.
Yeah, I think Christian's saying, I'm the road boss.
Yeah, but I don't think Caden took to that too well, because he's fast tonight and he didn't do anything wrong. That's just tight racing. When you're on these 1.5 miles and side drafting so important, you just get a little frustrated at times. But Eckes did a nice job of controlling that situation and getting his truck out in front of Honeycutt.
There were 25 trucks or so on the lead lap when this cycle of green flag pit stops began. Daniel Dye had taken over the race lead. He now has pitted. Massey and Hill still out there running. They will have to make a pit stop, and then it will cycle back to Corey Heim, who would be the race leader with Zane Smith behind him. Eckes and Honeycutt would be 3rd and 4th in the running order after everything cycles through.
Michael, you wanted to know the difference after they came back on the racetrack after their pit stops. Corey Heim right now is 7 seconds ahead of Caden Honeycutt, and he was 1 second ahead when they started the pit stops.
Yeah, we have to watch that closely, and that's how it played out.
We're going side by side. 34 laps to go. Right now, it's the Corey Heim show at Kansas.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can start it with a splash. With a play date at a park. Or at a party with friends. Or at an epic water balloon fight.
Gotcha! Did you know that every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care? A 2-year or 25,000-mile maintenance plan and roadside assistance. That's the value you can expect from Toyota.
Your summer starts here.
Toyota, let's go places.
America is always on the move, moving forward, moving up, moving home. And whether you are moving across town or across the country, Pods delivers when we say we will, with no surprise costs. Which is why we were voted America's #1 container moving company. Join over 6 million people who have trusted Pods with their move. Book your move today at pods.com.
Our biggest challenge? Uncertainty. Hidden fees, surcharges, who knows what to expect.
Turn shipping to your advantage.
Keep it simple with clear upfront pricing.
With USPS Ground Advantage.
It's not about the cars, the speed, the action. It's not about the party or the long weekend. It's about them, the ones that gave everything. This Memorial Day weekend, we honor the fallen at America's Home for Racing, the 65th running of the Coca-Cola 600.
Do we have your attention yet? Is this the new face of the great American race? Is this how you dance on the razor's edge? How you find a diamond in the desert? How you beat the heat? Will this gladiator be the last one standing? Who's gonna attack from the rest of the pack? Last question, are you not entertained? The Advent Health 400 from Kansas on FS1.
I am tradition passed down from the families that race
to the ones that watch us every weekend.
29 laps to go. It's the Craftsman Truck Series, Kansas Speedway. Corey Heim has looked good. Won the opening stage, second in stage 2, and has been really good in this final stage, flexing his muscles through a cycle of green flag pit stops. He's led 50 laps, and his advantage now over second place Zane Smith, 2.6 seconds.
You know, Adam, we talked about the importance of the green flag pit stop for the rookie Caden Honeycutt. Could he match what Corey Heim did? He went to pit road 1 second behind Heim, came off 7 seconds. We just looked at the pit comparison. It is about 3 seconds difference by the pit crew itself. So that means Corey Heim beat Caden Honeycutt by 3 seconds on and off pit road.
And that's experience, Michael.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes,
no
totally.
knock against Caden Honeycutt.
Just hasn't done it very much.
Hasn't done it. And Carson talked about all the intricacies of coming to pit road, getting your nose down, hitting that transition. Those are all things he learned during that process. But what he needs right now is a caution, because looking at the lap times, he's made his way up to 4th. He's faster right now than our leader, Corey Heim, but he can't make up that 5 seconds that he's down in the amount of time that's left. A caution, he could be the man.
When you look at the top 10, the only driver yet to make a pit stop is Timmy Hill. He's back to 6th. Heim out front with 26 remaining. Here's the radio.
I'm so freaking free, guys. 10-4, do the best you can. I can't fix the aero problem here, but we'll do the best we can here.
Wow, how about that? So free.
But you know what? He's working through a lot of lap traffic here, and he's starting to pull away a bit from Zane Smith. The advantage was 2.5, and just a second ago, he was back at 3 seconds. So he's feeling pretty good about his advantage, I got to believe.
And remember, only about 13, 14 laps on those tires, so the tires should be in pretty good shape.
And now Zane's got to make his way through all that traffic. There you see Connor Mozak. Lane Riggs down on the bottom. Mozak's a fast truck. Unfortunately, he too, probably some inexperience on his part, didn't have a great on and off pit road.
Yeah, Nick Sanchez was the fastest truck that last lap. He was a couple tenths faster than Corey Heim, but he's 13.5 seconds behind.
It's crazy, isn't it? When we started this stage, Sanchez, who had come from the back, was up there racing for the lead, actually put it out front for a lap or so, and then drifted, went back to 9th or 10th through the cycle of stops, and now finds himself 7th, as Phil said, 13 seconds behind the race leader.
There's that 2 truck as he races along behind Tanner Gray in the 15.
Nice day for Tanner Gray. I know he was disappointed to not get that ARCA Menards win after dominating that race, but still got the runner-up finish. Oh, smoke. That's his brother Taylor. A lot of smoke. As you mentioned, no.
Oh, right front tire flat.
I think that could be the caution.
If that rubber comes off that tire, it'll definitely be the caution. He was running in the 9th position, and now you see issues as he comes to pit road.
Hasn't finished out of the top 10 since Daytona, Adam, as you mentioned earlier. But this one's going to hurt right here.
You know, this is tough because all 5 of the Tricon Toyotas were running inside the top 12 before the right front issue for Taylor Gray.
Make sure we're clear on both right sides, guys.
Must have scraped that wall a little bit. You heard the team telling, the crew chief telling the team to make sure they check those fenders as he stops on pit road.
Remember, unlike the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series, these trucks' bodies are made of steel.
There it is, scraping the wall. Man, just slight contact, Phil, and that's going to take that top 10 streak you spoke of and throw it out the window.
Yeah, the guys having to take their time to make sure they get clearance. They don't want to cause another flat tire.
Battle for the 10th position. Dean Thompson around.
Yeah, he's making it happen.
Daniel Dye. Great pictures from Daniel's truck. You see Dean down off the racetrack, trying to break away from Daniel. But look at that draft, Phil. You've talked a lot about it. You can really make up some ground.
Dean finished 3rd in ARCA Menards race, and the reason he ran that race was just extra track time to help him tonight, and he's made his way up into the top 10.
Corey Heim in charge of the field. We have reached our Craftsman 20 to go at Kansas. How about this stat? 26 different drivers have spent time inside the top 10 tonight.
Well, we talk about it all the time. It's hard to tell you out of our top 25 trucks which one of them will win. I mean, there's guys on a given night all the way through the top 20 that can do just that. So much fun to cover this.
The record for drivers in the top 10 came here in the fall, and that was 28. Thompson continues the climb. He's up to 9th. His teammate Heim is leading. 14 laps remaining for the trucks here at Kansas. Corey Heim is saying, just don't show me a yellow flag. I want to stay green and continue my run at the front. Zane Smith is 2nd. Christian Eckes in 3rd has been impressive tonight. Let's get a report there. Go to Josh.
Yeah, and for the 19 team, this was called a trial run for them. They were looking ahead to the playoffs, so they brought a different setup for here. Even though they've won here in the past, Christian told me when they won, they weren't necessarily the best truck, and 1.5 miles has been their biggest weakness, so it's something they want to make sure they are better at come playoff time. Well, that different setup has been pretty good for them, but they're not looking for pretty good. They're looking for lights out, and they just haven't been lights out tonight as they've constantly been battling a tight truck. So a good top 5 truck, but not the winning truck they've been looking for.
I would say 3s are wild tonight for Christian Eckes. 3rd in stage 1, 3rd in stage 2, and 3rd here with 13 laps to go in the race.
Got a comfortable couple seconds over Honeycutt right now, who's running in the 4th spot, but you see left side of his screen, Brett Moffitt. What a nice run for Brett Moffitt. First time in a race vehicle this year. Last time he was on a truck, Adam, what happened?
He won Talladega.
He won.
Hey, by the way, Eckes tonight leading, paying off. He's led, let's see here, 11 laps. He's led laps in every race this season. That's impressive.
All 8 of them. What a year.
There's that beautiful #1 truck for Brett Moffitt you talked about. Top 5. Great run for the champ. Pushing his way toward the checker flag.
I just sit here looking at, the Corey Heim with about a 2-second advantage over Zane Smith. Another 2 seconds back to Eckes. We've got 11 laps to go. And you know what could happen if something happens. I don't even want to say it. I don't want to jinx it for Corey Heim.
Are you speaking of the caution flag, Phil?
Well, you said it. I didn't say it.
You're going to bunch them up and ask them to be nice to each other? I don't know if that'll happen.
How about these restarts?
Oh,
that's that famous Phil Parsons line. You know what can happen if something happens.
How about Zane Smith now? He's making up some ground on Corey Heim.
Got it down under 2 seconds. Last time by, a couple of tenths better than the 11 truck.
Felt like it was pretty consistent there, right around 3 seconds, but here we are. 1.8 with 10 to go.
Truck's pretty well scattered out. That's good news for that 11 truck. Nobody pressuring each other too hard here late in the going. There you see Chase Purdy.
Yeah, he's had some issues. He's being shown now 3 laps down. This will probably put him 4 laps down, but another good run for this guy right here, Daniel Dye, coming off his best finish of the year at Texas 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago with a 6th. Another top 10 going here.
You see that yellow truck behind him there. That's Matt Crafton. He spent the majority of this race inside the top 10, but just got passed by Daniel, and so he's 11th right now. But you just see Matt steady as she goes. What happens here though? Steady, steady, steady. Oh no! Ooh. I think we know why Matt's falling back a little bit. That truck looks like it's pretty loose on Crafton.
From one veteran to another, right behind Crafton, Grant Enfinger is 12th. Won here last spring, made the championship 4 a season ago.
That's probably about his highest running position of this race. We saw Grant early in the race outside the top 20. But Jeff Stankiewicz, the crew chief, and the team has worked on that truck, made it better. Right now, we only have 14 trucks on the lead lap, and certainly Grant Enfinger, one of those here, running 12th.
Look at that progress, though. This is the best position they've been in, like you said, Phil. But this is the kind of thing you can build on. This is a new team, as we mentioned earlier. He needs a good, steady run as we start this 5-race stretch here, week after week, going to battle. You perform like this and you're like, we're just a notch away from knocking on the door of a top 10, top 5.
Raja Karuth behind him in 13th. Quiet early, made that run into the top 10. Something went wrong with the 71, and they were outside the top 20 when we made those green flag pit stops, but they've come to life once again, 13th. And you mentioned 14 trucks on the lead lap. Let's celebrate the success of Brett Holmes who's in the top 15 right now, running 14th.
Last truck on the lead lap. Brett's doing a nice job. There's that beautiful 32 truck.
He's a former winner here in the ARCA Menard Series, a former champion as well.
Just steady progression. Started 24th, stayed there at the end of stage 1, but it's been moving forward since then. That's nice progress.
Yeah, Mike Shiplett coming on board this year to call the shots and certainly paying dividends.
We've told you about all the trucks on the lead lap. 5 laps remaining for the man on point, Corey Heim.
Looking for win number 2 of the season in that Tricon Toyota.
Not finished outside the top 10 all year. Hasn't hardly ever finished out of the top 10 in his career, truthfully.
Tonight would be his 23rd top 10 in the last 24 races.
Yeah.
That's remarkable.
There's Dean Thompson battling with Bailey Curry. Daniel Dye looking on. This is all inside the top 10. Daniel's liking them battling. He can charge up there and try to grab 9th away from Curry.
Got Dean Thompson to draft off of on the bottom of the racetrack. Not quite able to clear Curry.
Oh, Curry's pushing though.
Oh, he got him now.
He had to lift out of the gas. That tells you why that 41 truck is fading. Really tight. Couldn't keep that truck down as he exited turn 4.
Good night for Tricon. Good night for Nice. A couple of trucks inside the top 10.
Those are startling, staggering,
all
impressive.
Those things.
All that.
Yeah.
All that.
Mind-boggling.
You just wonder what happened in Martinsville. Goodness gracious. He finished 10th.
Throw out the setup.
Remember last year, he dominated Martinsville.
Impressive this kid is. We talked about when he made his Cup debut and checking all the boxes in that race. He just continues to impress.
I tell you, Zane is coming now. He was 2 seconds behind, just a couple laps to go. He's gained about 7/10 of a second. There he is right there, the next truck behind Corey Heim.
3.5 tenths that lap. If you do the math, he almost gets there.
And there's some lap traffic there. Inside of 2 to go. Number 1, Heim wants to see the white flag. Make sure we don't have to have any restarts here late in the race for him. Go to overtime. And then he wants to handle this lap traffic.
He wants to see the white flag and not see that white truck get too big in his mirror.
It's getting bigger in his mirror. Here comes Smith.
There's part 1 of the equation. White flag is out. 1 lap to go for Corey Heim.
Another 3.5 tenths.
A 1 second advantage as he hits the back straightaway.
Oh man, that's so frustrating for Zane Smith. He's like, oh, he's right there, but I just don't have enough time.
Boy, about 1 more lap. Look at all this lap traffic right in front of Corey Heim.
11 truck strong tonight. Corey Heim hits him right between the eyes, leads 79 laps, and gets his 2nd win of the year.
It's a battle for the 10th spot with Matt Crafton.
This Corey Heim kid is special. What a great race tonight. Unbelievable statistics around his whole career. Another victory here in Kansas.
Thank you guys. Man, that thing was free, but I hung on to it. We're going to get a little bit better, man. This thing has a lot of potential.
I'd say it's got a lot of potential.
Did he just say potential?
Yes, he did.
Didn't he just win?
Thought so.
Career win number 7 for Corey Heim. Last time he delivered at Circuit of the Americas in the month of March.
Yeah, he can win on the road course. He can win on the short tracks, the 1.5 miles. He has no weaknesses, Adam.
You know, Phil, after qualifying, maybe just a little bit concerned about the Toyotas. And you said, no, Mike, they're set up to race. And that's exactly what we saw tonight. Really, really good handling in the traffic. And he had a loose truck at the end, but he held on to it to get another victory.
Heim's got both the wins this season for Tricon Garage.
Tricon with 4 Toyotas in the top 10, actually in the top 8.
And if Taylor Gray didn't have his problems late, they probably would have put all 5 in the top 10 for a 2nd time this season. Second goes to Zane Smith. Eckes was third. Great night for Caden Honeycutt. Comes home in a fourth position. And Brett Moffett making his return to the Truck Series, finished fifth.
Are we? What time is it, Adam?
You know what time it is. Check your watch. It's Heim time in Kansas.
We'll see if Corey gets out and checks his watch.
I bet he does.
200 miles tonight, 400 miles tomorrow.
Uh-oh. Disagreement between Cam Waters, it looks like.
Lane Riggs.
Lane Riggs is trying to explain his position.
They were battling for the 18th position. Riggs got it, and Waters was 19th.
That's cool when your team comes out. You get to celebrate with the guys that work so hard to put that truck where you can drive to victory lane.
Corey's going to get to celebrate this win, have a nice night, and then race 400 miles tomorrow.
And I guarantee you he wouldn't want it any other way. He's going to give the flag to a fan. There it is.
Let's hear from the winner. Down to Jamie.
We heard him say over the radio right after taking the checkered flag, this thing has a lot of potential. Talking about the fact that it's a brand new truck coming out of the Tricon garage built just for these mile and a half. The last time you won, Corey, was also in a brand new truck. When your team is able to give you the equipment that you need to perform, what do you do when you get back to the shop to continue building?
It's just, can't say enough about these guys at Tricon Garage, man. I mean, just top to bottom, we executed so well today. The pit crew, everyone back at the shop at Tricon Garage, just what a truck. I mean, definitely struggled with being free for most of the race, so I can't say it was easy, but I mean, even with the balance I had, this truck has so much more potential to get better. So I'm kind of out of breath right now. That was the handful of the last 30 laps, but huge thank you to Tricon Garage, Toyota Racing, Safe Flight, everyone back at TRD, just really wanted this one today and drove my butt off for it.
The numbers that you've been able to put up this season are just nothing short of impressive. Everyone in the field, you have the target on your back. Week after week, what do you do personally to make sure that you're ready for the challenge?
Just keep getting better, keeping that gap ahead of the second place guy is the main thing. I feel like we were so due on this place, and I really wanted this win today, so I knew we were going to be capable of winning today. It's about putting some more consistency together for the rest of the year and going after that championship.
Congratulations on the win. That's Corey Heim. It's Heim time, Adam.
Well, Zane Smith comes home second here tonight, led 29 laps, and it felt like if that race went a little bit longer, you might have been able to catch the 11.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised with how much we caught him there at the very end. Just can't lose 8 spots on pit road is a good start, but appreciate everyone at MHR, Instacoat, Team Chevy, just everyone. Just felt like that one kind of got away there.
Thanks, Zane. Adam?
3 trucks from McAnally Hilgeman Racing finish inside the top 10, led by Zane Smith, who was second. And he was the runner-up to this guy, Corey Heim. He gets his first Kansas win, his second of the year. No doubt his star is rising. Celebration continues in victory lane for Corey Heim, who was dominant tonight at Kansas Speedway. We heard from Zane Smith, who finished second. Now a word with Christian Eckes, who was third in tonight's race.
Well, yeah, Adam and Christian, you come home third, and you talked so much today about the different setup you guys brought here, looking ahead to the playoffs. After the race now, how do you feel about how that all played out for you guys?
I feel a lot better about it than I did during practice, that's for sure. Yeah, the Adaptive 1 Chevy was a little bit off tonight. I just struggled with tight all day, and the track kept changing and changing and changing, and we just couldn't keep up with it enough. So we got a little bit of work to do still, but I like the direction that we're heading. And yeah, just excited for these coming weeks, just getting better for the playoffs.
Another top 10 finish for Christian Eckes, Jamie.
Well, we saw Caden Honeycutt come up through the field early on, put up those impressive numbers. You were the quickest truck on the racetrack for several of those laps. The job that the team did to put you in there tonight, what can you say about this?
I can't say enough about Phil Gould, Frank, Cole, Devin, Tanner, for all my guys for building an amazing truck. You know, obviously I wanted to be better there myself. Just needed to clean up on pit road. I lost too much time on pit road, so just go back and look at it and be better. I just want to thank, first of all, I won't even be here without Al Neese, Cody Fall, Tony Valento for all the support that I get from them, my mom and dad as well. Without them, I wouldn't even be here at Kansas or doing any truck racing whatsoever. So I just want to thank them. Also, Neese Products of Kansas, Chevrolet, RDC Shoe Company, Darren Davis. I know he's really excited for Charlotte, so yeah, that'll be a heck of a race. So myself, I'm gonna get better, and you know, it sucks. Definitely sucks to come that close and not finish the job off. But still, great run. You gotta crawl before you walk, right? So this is the start of something of our part-time schedule. Hopefully, we'll click our first win off at Charlotte in a couple weeks.
You certainly proved that you're worthy to be here. Nice job.
That's just impressive, and you can see how humble the kid is and how thankful he is, and he did everything perfectly. He said got beat up on pit road a bit. That comes with experience. You're going to learn. He hadn't been put in that position, and it cost him tonight, but with that type of attitude and with the chance to go to Charlotte and do even bigger and better things, let's keep our eye on Caden Honeycutt.
And I like this team right here. I talked about it during week in, week out, the Tricon Garage. All 5 of their teams have some of the very best pit stops on pit road, and they sure delivered when it counted for Corey Heim.
Look at either side of the toolbox. That's a great combination. Corey Heim, Scott Zipadelli. And we saw how good they were tonight, winning for a second time this season. Corey Heim wins at Kansas. Zane Smith second. Christian Eckes, Caden Honeycutt third and fourth. How about Brett Moffitt? Spend 6 months on the sidelines, come back to trucks, finish inside the top 5. Let's hear from number 1. Here's Jamie.
When I came over to talk to Brett Moffitt, I asked him, did you have fun being back here tonight? First race back of the season, started 17th, ended up finishing 5th, but you looked over at Corey Heim celebrating and you said, that's the only fun part. But you still got this opportunity. What do you take away from tonight?
Yeah, it was great to get out here. First of all, I love Kansas Speedway, racing in the Midwest, and I really got to thank Tricon Garage, Seth Smith, and all the guys on this one Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. They brought me a really good truck. We, you know, lacked a little bit in qualifying, but knew we had a good race truck, and struggled for track position early. When we finally got it, we had a little mishap on the restart and lost it again, but then had to gain it back. So it's just a long night. It was a good night, but we learned a lot, and we'll move on to the next one and hopefully be a little bit better.
See you next time. Josh?
Well, Nick Sanchez comes home 6th after having to start at the back of the beginning of this race. So break down your day for me.
Yeah, it was definitely, I wouldn't say a down day. It was really up. You know, we gained a lot of spots. And honestly, we put ourselves in position to take the lead, and I think we led a lot. But I just didn't have the speed to lead the race and win it. Struggled really hard in a short run. Probably take 15, 16 laps for the truck to come in, and once it did, I was way too far back. So yeah, definitely an off day. Definitely have to go to work on to get better. But yeah, just thanks to Gamebridge, Chevy, Rev Racing, and we'll go into Darlington.
Thanks, Nick.
For Nick Sanchez, second-year driver, 6th or better in the last 3 races.
How'd you like the sound of that, Adam? Now we're off to Darlington. I love that place.
I'm counting the days. 6 away Friday night. More post-race coverage after a break on FS1. We started the countdown for Darlington prior to the break. The Track 2 Tough to Tame begins the second half of the regular season for the Craftsman Truck Series. We're live in South Carolina on Friday night.
We see how wide this racetrack here is here at Kansas. Well, Darlington's about a third that wide, and they will be fighting for space.
And you know how we celebrated when they ran right out next to the wall here at Kansas? That's exactly where they're going to be running all night long at Darlington.
With a little kiss, yeah. 6:30 Eastern time is when our coverage begins Friday evening. Talked to a lot of happy drivers post-race tonight. Couple not so happy. Cam Waters and the 66 Racing Lane Riggs on the final lap.
Just got away from Cam down on the bottom, and he had to use up Lane Riggs to save his truck. Lane gets that spot. They're battling for 18th. You hate to go down like that for 18th, but I don't think it was anything intentional by Waters. He just got sideways. Probably coming to say what happened or, you know, to apologize. It looked like Cam was pretty calm about it. Lane, not so much. What do you see, Phil?
Yeah, I see the same thing. You know, obviously Cam was on the inside. He got loose, forced Lane up into the outside wall. And I'm glad they're not wobbling out in the way of those trucks that are coming by at a high rate of speed. Then some of the crew members get involved and just again, just racing. Cam Waters, I'm sure, coming from where he comes from, the racing he usually does, this is quite a bit different for anything he's ever done.
And then that was as high as he'd been all night long, up inside the top 20, and certainly wasn't anything he did intentionally.
Yeah, Cam did a pretty good job tonight. After going a lap down, had the issue on pit road, but found his way back into the mix and finished inside the top 20. So as we wrap things for the trucks tonight, we remind you, Cup takes center stage tomorrow. Race day happens at 2 o'clock Eastern time here on FS1. We're racing at 3 from Kansas. Christopher Bell starts on the pole. Next up for the trucks, we said it, Friday evening in Darlington. We'll see you there, 6:30 Eastern time. It was a fun day and night in the Heartland. And we're happy you spent some time with us, with Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip, Jamie Howe, Josh Sims, and Carson Hocevar, special guest. I'm Adam Alexander. We'll see you next time. Congratulations, Corey Heim. Best of Radioactive is next.